I'd like to call to order the meeting for Medford Township Council on April 20th, 2026. This meeting is called in pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting on April 20th, 2026 was posted on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building on April 15th, 2026, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it's here. All right, so, I'm sorry, roll call, please. Thank you.
Ms. Dinsmore?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Mill?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Here.
Mayor Sizik?
Here. All right. So no special presentations this evening, but I do have a proclamation that I'd like to read. And if Paula Galley would be so kind as to join us with all the rest of her green team, that'd be great. You all go down. One of these, just so it's official. How we doing, ladies? All right. Oh. We have the whole team here. This is perfect. Thank you so much for being here tonight, ladies. And it's our honor to read you this proclamation. All the work that you do all year round to keep our town green and sustainable is phenomenal, and we want to thank you for that. All right, so this is a proclamation declaring Arbor Day on April 24th, 2026, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world as a special day for planting trees. And whereas trees increase property value, enhance our business areas, beautify our community, serve many environmentally beneficial purposes, and are renewable resources for paper, wood, fuel, and countless other products. And whereas through the continued efforts of the Environmental Affairs Advisory Committee and its Green Team, and in collaboration with the Pinelands Gardens Club, the Medford Public Schools, Medford Lease, and other civic organizations, Medford Township has been designated as a Tree City USA for the 47th consecutive year, an accomplishment achieved only by 3 municipalities in the state of New Jersey. Now, therefore, let it be resolved by the Town Council of Medford Township in the County of Burlington and the state of New Jersey that Friday, April 24th, 2026 is proclaimed as Arbor Day in Medford, and students are encouraged to plant trees from the New Jersey Forest Service Nursery that were donated through the EAAC and the Pinelands Gardens Club. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Can we get a picture with the council? Yep. Sure, of course, yes.
I just want to make a quick comment. The dog festival of furry babies was absolutely, positively, I wouldn't want to say the best party I've been to, but it was really fun. I did want to say, though, my husband and I and the dog took a look at the children's playground there, and really, with skin cancer being as widespread as it is, we need to put a shade over that. And I know we don't have the money, but maybe one of the groups in town, social services, would help us. I know I donate, and we can get it up there, because it's, and everybody else has it. We have to be competitive.
Great point, thank you for that.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep, and not being a fur father of my own, but I attended with my children. That's kind of the way I get away from not having a pet. I bring them and they can experience
We
other
didn't get
people's
one till
pets.
they left.
Yep. But yeah, thank you. It was an amazing
wonderful.
event. Yep. Any other communication?
I do. Two things. I'm going to ask for all of your indulgence as I keep my cell phone on me. My daughter is now officially overdue, and I am still waiting for that phone call. That's the first thing. The second thing, I'm going to do something probably a little unorthodox. I'm going to ask that we go to executive. My reasons are there's been a lot of stuff out there, social media-wise, phone calls, texts, people coming up and asking questions. And I think there's a real fear that people think there's been some underhanded things going on with our contract negotiations. So I'm not sure what the next steps are to do that, but I would like us to go to executive, make sure that all cards are on the table, and that we're giving this township the fair and honest representation they need in reference to our contract negotiations.
We can, so we'll add, Mayor, if you please do
Pat, the microphone, brother.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I said we'll add an executive session. We'll need a motion at number 9 on the agenda to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations. It is an appropriate use of executive session, so we can do that.
And you'd like to have this done now?
I would like to do that now.
So you want to do that now, so we just want to revise the agenda? All right, certainly. So we just need a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Hi.
Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye.
What's the order that we call people's names? Like, how do you know who goes first?
It's just the way I'm,
Yeah, we should have a system.
I mean, the mayor, deputy mayor. or
Mayor last. No, just the mayor, not the deputy. But that's all right. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. All right, so now we're in executive.
It won't be long.
10 minutes?
Yes.
10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I will now reconvene the open portion of the public meeting. We discussed in executive,
Contractual negotiations.
okay? I
That's
can
it.
leave it at that. Okay, perfect. All right, now we will move on to scheduling items. We have a meeting April 28th. It's a public hearing at the Public Safety Building at 5:30. And on the same day, on April 28th, a town hall meeting at the Public Safety Building at 6:30. There are no approval of minutes. Our next matter is the 2026 municipal budget presentation. If I could ask the members of council, we'll head down like we did the last time, and Lindsay will present for us.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Gentili. I'm the Township CFO, and tonight I'm going to take you through the 2026 proposed municipal budget. If you were here on the 14th, I apologize. This is a little bit repetitive. There is a live streaming of this currently online. There's also a recording of my presentation on the 14th. The PowerPoint is also on the website, and the state budget document is also on the website as well, which is 80 tabs, every department thoroughly labeled. So tonight, I'm going to talk about the goals of the budget process. The primary goal is to sustain the level of services that our residents expect from us and regularly rely upon. This is police, fire, EMS, public works, zoning, construction, you name it. Our job is to fiscally manage the township's operations and plan for long-term needs, such as capital improvements for infrastructure, replacement of vehicles, etc. We also have to be conscientious of the local tax rate and try to explore revenue-generating ideas to try to reduce the pressure on the local purpose tax. So about municipal budgeting, it's a town's annual spending plan. It consists of revenues, expenses, debt service, as well as capital improvements. The annual budget also includes the regular and capital budgets for the water and sewer department, as well as the township open space. The New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, also known as the Division of Local Government Services, provides all towns with a template. That's that state document that I mentioned is on the website. And that contains formulas pertaining to the tax levy cap, the appropriations cap, and the reserve for uncollected taxes. It's a document that every town must use. Every third year, the township's budget is reviewed by the local government services within DCA and also reviewed every year in our audit. The township's budget fiscal year coincides with the calendar year, so our process actually began in the preceding fall. As the CFO, I provide department heads with their budget spreadsheets, and it includes year-to-date spending and historical data, 5 years' worth for every single budget line within their department. So it shows what was requested each year, what was used each year, and if they're asking for an increase, they have to provide justification as to why. In November, the township manager and I convene with each department head, and we sit down and go over their budget sheets. An annual financial statement of the prior year's activities is issued in early March, and that tells the township manager and I how much surplus we can expect to have and possibly use in the budget. This is when we transmit a rough draft to the council. We also find out in early March how much state aid we receive from the state as far as revenue in our budget as well. So it all comes in around the same time. As far as the revenue side of the budget, it's made up of 4 primary sources. This is surplus balance, which is how much money is unused from prior year's budgets. Anticipated revenues, this is fees, shared service agreements, etc. State aid, which I mentioned, it has been frozen around $2 million for the last 3 years. Grant funds, this is added to the budget over the course of the year. And property taxes, which this year makes up 64% of the proposed budget. Like I mentioned earlier, the annual financial statement verifies how much surplus at the end of the prior year is available to be used potentially as a revenue source in this year's budget. So a little bit more about surplus. In 2024, we started with $3.6 million in surplus. We used $3.2 as revenue in the 2024 budget, leaving $354,000 in surplus reserve. In 2024, we started with $1.6 million in surplus, almost a $2 million decrease. We used $1.3 as a revenue in the 2025 budget, leaving the same amount of surplus reserve as the prior year, $354,000. 2026, we started with $2.5 million in surplus, almost $1 million increase. However, we're proposing to use $2.1 in this year as a revenue source, leaving $450,000 in surplus reserve. Now for the expense component of the budget. For each municipal department, it's comprised of salary and wages, including overtime, as well as other expenses, and this is goods, services to run the department. There's also budget sheets for insurance expenditures, health, which makes up health benefits, workers' compensation, general liability insurance, etc. There's utility costs for electricity, natural gas, gasoline, diesel, and statutory costs, FICA, which is Social Security, the police and fire, employment retirement service, pension, and there's also sheets for capital improvement and debt service as well. So there's 2 statutory budget controls that are implied each year from the state. I'll cover the 2% tax levy cap first. This is a hard cap that applies to taxes for regular expenses. So this means the state will not allow us to raise taxes more than 2% unless certain things are allowed to be outside of the cap. The state tells me what I can put outside of the cap. It can be for increased expenses for debt service, health insurance, pension costs, capital improvements, et cetera. For example, this year, the only thing I was allowed to put outside of that cap was for health insurance. We were hit with a 17% increase for employment health insurance costs. I was allowed to take the cost of last year's health insurance for our employees, the cost of this year's health insurance, and that difference I'm allowed to put outside the cap. Other than that, taxes could only be raised by the 2% levy. The levy cap could also be increased by new ratables or if we had a levy cap bank that carried over. Unfortunately, we had no levy cap bank available from prior years. If it's unused, it expires after 3 years. The other statutory budget control is a 2.5% appropriations cap. That limits our spending increases to 2.5%, or if you pass an ordinance at the beginning of the year, it's called the COLA, Cost of Living Adjustment Ordinance, which we do pass each year. It raises the cap to 3.5%. There are exceptions for this as well. Shared service agreements, because the state tries to encourage that. Debt service, if your debt service has increased. Capital improvements, reserve for uncollected taxes, things that are out of our control. It also can be increased by new ratables or an appropriation cap bank. We currently have a cap bank of $745,000 after this year's budget. All right, so right off the bat, what did we know about this year's budget? It began with an increase in available surplus. Nothing to rave about, but of course that helps. Any little bit helps. Like I said, surplus at the end of the year was $2.6 million. We're proposing using $2.1 in this budget. It's $800,000 more than in the 2025 budget, leaving a surplus reserve of $450,000, which is a $100,000 increase from last year. On the revenue side, the things that we knew off the bat, we had a $400,000 decrease because we had a one-time revenue source of last year, the sale of the liquor license. This year, we do not have that. The shared service revenue for school police officers has decreased by $127,000. This is because a lot of schools are transitioning from a school resource officer to a Class 3 officer. So they are paid less, therefore we are reimbursed less. We had a $200,000 decrease in pilot revenue due to an expired agreement with Medford Lees. On the expense side, the primary reasons for the budget increase is every 12 years there's a 27th pay, and this just is how the calendar falls. So we have to budget for a 27th payday for our employees. That's technically a one-time expense we won't see again for 12 more years. Each payroll is over $200,000. $400,000 increase in retiree health care benefits. That's the 17% increase I mentioned earlier. The $250,000 increase for the active employee health care. $141,000 increase in statutory costs. This is for FICA, which is in regards with the 27th pay. So Social Security for the 27th pay, as well as pension increases. $62,000 for an increase in the reserve for uncollected taxes. This is a formulaic increase, and I'll get more into the reserve for uncollected taxes later. But this is a formula the state makes us budget for because they know we will not collect 100% of our taxes. And I'll get into that more later. $250,000 increase for solid waste. This is due to the $100,000 contractual increase with Republic Services and $150,000 for leaf disposal. Other factors affecting expenses, salary and wages are up 4%, but that includes the 27th pay, and other expenses are up 9%. And a lot of this is due to trash, contractual agreements. We have cut $1.3 million to get to where we are today in the budget, so any increase is a contractual increase. Actions to fill the budget gap. So we were able to anticipate more revenue gains due to higher permit fee volume, increased tax interest costs, and strengthened EMS billing collections. We reduced the proposed increase in the solid waste budget by $50,000 because we changed the public works yard hours and what types of material the township will accept. For example, we no longer accept pressure-treated wood, and that's because our cost of disposing the pressure-treated wood at the county is so high. We instituted a hiring freeze for police, fire, public works, and town hall employees for any unfilled positions as well as any anticipated retirements. We eliminated the direct funding of police vehicles in the general budget, and we transferred that expense to the capital improvement fund. So for what that means is instead of borrowing money for police cars, we were trying to buy them in the budget, but unfortunately $150,000 was part of what was cut in that 1.3, and that's why the expense was transferred to the Capital Improvement Fund. We are using one new non-reoccurring source of revenue, and that's the sale of 39 Allen Avenue, the old Township Library. We signed a contract on the April 14th council meeting. The resolution was passed. That building sold for $250,000. We are proposing a modest increase in the tax rate from 0.519 to 0.550, which is a 3.2 cent increase per $100 of assessed value. A little bit about anticipated revenues. I mentioned property taxes make up 64% of our revenues. Surplus makes up 8%. This is money we have saved from prior year's budgets. State aid, which is from the state of New Jersey, makes up 7%, and it's been frozen right around $2 million for the last 3 years. Licenses, fees, and permits make up 6%. So this is liquor license, the interest on investments, court fees, ticket fees, traffic tickets, alarm fees, cable TV fees, etc. EMS billing makes up 3% of the budget, $875,000. Receipts from delinquent taxes. This is when we collect past due taxes in this year. That makes up 3% of the budget. Construction fees. This is any permits pulled for renovations or new builds. That generates fees. Pilot payments. This is already agreed pilot agreements that have already been agreed upon. We're anticipating $530,000 this year. Shared services. This is when other towns or entities pay us to share our services with them. We currently have that with EMS, the assessor's office, and school resource officers. And then miscellaneous, I've just lumped together MYA debt service payments. They reimburse us, general capital surplus, utility fund balance, and then the sale of the old library. And then there's grants, which is state and federal funds that support township projects. And this is just a graphic of what I just discussed, and it just shows the breakdown visually of those anticipated revenues. A little bit about pilot revenue and the breakdown. So the agreements that we currently have, I won't read all this, it is on the township website, but each entity is listed, the dates of the pilot agreement, and then how much we received in 2025 for each pilot and how much we're anticipating in 2026. I'll briefly breeze through it. Autumn Park, we're anticipating $313,000 in 2026. Hartford Square, $80,000 in 2026. The Willows at Medford, $39,000 in 2026. Creekside, $18,000. Volunteers of America, $27,000. The Willows at Hartford Road, $32,000. And Medford Senior Housing on Jones Road, $17,000 in 2026. Also, it was brought to my attention to talk a little bit about tax abatements. We currently only have one active tax abatement in town. That is at Magnify Brewing. It's a 5-year tax abatement. So there are 2 separate lines for this property. One on the land, which they pay land tax each year. The land tax goes to the county and the schools, just like the rest of us homeowners, our taxes do. However, the second line of their property is on the improvement value. So that's a 5-year tax abatement, so that means they are phased into it. So in addition to the land tax, they also will pay 20% of the improvement value in 2027, 40% in 2028, 60% in 2029, 80% in 2030, and then they will be on the tax roll as a regular resident in 2031 for 100% of their value as well as their land tax. And I also just used 2025's tax rate just to give you an estimate of what we would be anticipating to bring in each year. But of course, as the tax rate goes up, that number will also increase. Just wanted to cover that tax abatement. All right, so now the other side of the budget, how the money is spent, the expense side. 30%, a little over $8 million, is for salary and wages. This is for 100 full and part-time employees. This does not include the water and sewer department. 38% for other expenses. This is insurance costs, solid waste collection and disposal, energy, utilities. 13% is for capital improvement. When we have a capital program each year, we have to build 5% of that, basically the down payment on those projects. We build that into the budget, the capital improvement fund. Debt service to pay for projects from our past. That makes up $3.4 million. 10% is statutory costs. This is Social Security, pensions, and then 5% for the reserve for uncollected taxes. So we have to budget over $1.2 million for potentially not collecting all of the taxes. So we collect the taxes for all the taxing agencies, the county, the schools, etc. but the state knows we will not collect 100% of the taxes. So we have to budget for that and to make our budget whole, potentially. I'll get into that further. I know it's a little confusing. And then 3% for grant funds and shared service agreements. This is just a visual of those explanations as well. So for police department and insurance, capital improvement, like I said, it's just a visual of the prior two slides. Now for township staffing levels. In Town Hall, we have 18 full-time, 5 part-time employees. This covers the assessor's office, collector's office, finance, clerk, manager, planning and zoning, and construction. For public works and utilities, there's 25 full-time employees. This covers administration, fleets, streets and roads, buildings and grounds, and the utility division. For police and municipal court, we have 41 full-time employees, 12 part-time. There's 36 sworn officers, 4 SLEO 3s, 5 part-time crossing guards, 4 full-time and 2 part-time admin staff. For fire and EMS, there's 17 full-time employees, 6 part-time and 7 per diem. 10 firefighters, 82 volunteers, 7 full-time EMTs, 6 part-time, 7 per diem, and 20 volunteer EMS. So now for the capital portion of the budget. We have one for the general fund as well as the utility department. So there's $375,000 for a new street sweeper. This is to comply with state stormwater mandates. $325,000 for a new jet vac truck. This is also for state stormwater mandates. This is half of the cost. The jet vac truck will also be used for the utility department, so we've split the cost. $1.2 million for the 2026 road improvement program. $800,000 for fire and EMS equipment. This is their air packs and their protective equipment. $98,000 for public works equipment. There's a small change since the 14th PowerPoint. Forklift as well as fuel system improvements. Our fuel system did go down over the weekend, so we've had to pivot, and instead of lawnmowers, we have prioritized the fuel system because that's non-negotiable. $270,000 for police equipment, handguns, radar units, police vehicles, and an HVAC replacement for this building. $25,000 for the town hall computer server behind the scenes, but unfortunately needs to be replaced. For the utilities department, $400,000 for the sewer treatment plant upgrades. This is pumps, grinders, and bearings for the plant. $650,000 for sewer main relining and replacement throughout town. $1.5 million for well number 3 and 6 rehabs. $150,000 for other wells that need upkeeping. $1.2 million for water main upgrades and replacements throughout town. $500,000 for water meter replacements. This is a multi-year project, but the meters at all of our homes and businesses do have batteries, and we get much more accurate readings as we keep up with the aging infrastructure. $325,000 for the other half of that jet vac truck, and $100,000 for road resurfacing after we do a water main replacement or upgrade. So I mentioned the street sweeper and the jet vac truck due to unfunded state stormwater mandates. This is actually an unfunded state mandate. So it's a municipal stormwater management permit. In 2023, the state eliminated the category that Medford belonged to, which is the municipal separate storm sewer system Tier B permit, and they moved Medford to a Tier A. What does this mean? Tier A permit requires that we treat our stormwater system as if we were a city or a densely populated area. We're neither. But that does mean that we have to comply with periodic street sweeping, digital mapping of all our stormwater facilities, as well as maintenance, increased maintenance of the same. So we now have to purchase a street sweeper and the combination jet vac truck and have all of our stormwater infrastructure digitally mapped. The state only gave us $25,000 towards all of that. So it's our job to now fund the rest. A little bit about trust funds and self-liquidating accounts. So our utility operating account is a self-liquidating account. It has $3.3 million in it. A utility is considered self-liquidating when the cash receipts, so the fees, the rents, the charges that we collect, can cover all of the utility operating expenses for the year to run that utility, including its debt service payments. So ours is a water and sewer utility, and that means that Medford residents pay for what they use. This then funds the operation of the plant. That's the staff, the electricity to run the plant, the lab testing, the chemicals, and any infrastructure improvements, etc. The Open Space Trust Fund, the tax rate is 3 cents, and the current balance is $1.7 million. Under New Jersey state guidelines, these funds can only be used for land preservation, recreation and park development, farmland preservation, historic preservation, and blue acres. That means flood protection for your town. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund has a current balance of $293,000. The use of these funds is strictly governed by the New Jersey Fair Housing Act with oversight from DCA. The uses for this are only allowed to be housing production and preservation, affordability assistance, and administration and professional costs to help manage the same. So a little bit about your tax bill. Your tax bill is comprised of 4 different components: the county taxes, which makes up county government, county open space, and county library, Lenape Regional School District, Medford Township Board of Ed, and Medford Township. So township government, township open space. 1 penny on the municipal tax rate computes to $316,000. Proposed tax rate tonight from 0.519 to 0.550 on a $100 value. This is the average home in Medford is assessed at $331,000. So what does this mean? The proposed tax rate for 2026 would represents an estimated increase of $103 to the average homeowner on an annual basis, or $25.81 per quarter. A little bit about school districts and county taxation. The Medford Tax Collector's Office collects all tax monies on behalf of the Board of Ed, Lenape, the county, and Medford. The township remits 100% of those agencies' tax levy on a quarterly basis. So I wire 100% to the Board of Ed, Lenape, and the county each quarter, 100% of what is owed to them. The township must budget almost $1.3 million in a reserve for uncollected taxes because we bear, as the township, the sole risk of the taxing agencies for any uncollected taxes. The township and all taxing agencies bear the cost of any exempt properties. This is government-owned land, churches, nonprofits, totally disabled vets, etc. State aid to municipalities has been relatively flat, like I said, for 3 years since Governor Christie, while the state has also continued to cut aid to the school districts in Medford as well. This is the state aid trend for Lenape Regional over the past 8 years. As you can see, in 2019, they received $28.2 million in funding. This year, in 2026, they're receiving $19.4 million, even though their costs certainly haven't gone down at all. State aid trend for Medford Board of Ed. You can see in 2019, they received $4.6 million in funding from the state. This year, they're receiving $4.9. A little about school districts and county taxation. Rollback taxes, they don't happen often, but this is when a property is no longer farmed, and that is when the rollback taxes come back on the book. The township and the county receive those funds. Similarly, added and omitted taxes, those are split between township and county. This is if a new home is put on the tax map halfway through the year, an addition's put on a house, an improvement, etc. Pilot agreements have formulas for computation, long-term tax exemption law, and those are split between the county and the township as well. So this is a little bit about 2025's tax collection comparison. So it shows the total levy was $118 million, and then the breakdown shows that the county taxes were paid in full, Lenape Regional, $26 million in full, the Board of Ed, $55 million in full, but the township only received 95.5% of what we needed to collect. Like I said, the township bears the tax deficit for all of these entities. Here is a breakdown of the tax rates for each of these entities for 2024, 2025, and then the estimated rates for 2026. Of course, these are estimates. The county's rate has not been released yet. The Board of Ed or Lenape Regionals has not been released. These are projections based off the last 8 years' worth of data of where I believe they will fall. This is a 3-year tax comparison showing the different entities and the breakdown of your tax bill. So for 2026, for example, this is taking the average assessed home in Medford of $331,000. If their total tax bill is $13,000, you're going to pay that all to Medford Township. However, Medford Township is only keeping $1,900 of that. And I just think that's really important, and I wanted to show the breakdown. So $6,300 would go to the Board of Ed, $2,800 would go to Lenape, $1,900 would go to the county, and $1,900 would be for municipal taxes as well as open space. Any questions? Of course, I'm happy to answer at the end. I just wanted to say that Medford Township, as well as the schools, have continued to receive flat state aid, or it has decreased over the past few years. The goal is for the budget to be introduced tonight after I finish. There must be a minimum of 28 days between introduction and adoption of the budget. So we are holding a public hearing and a vote to adopt the 2026 municipal budget on the May 19th council meeting. Thank you. Any questions? Don't hesitate.
Okay. So you mentioned shared services, that we currently have shared services for SRO officers.
Correct.
But the other agency is looking to downgrade to class 3.
Yes,
We provide those class 3 officers.
correct.
So
Yes.
They're billed, are those employees?
They are employees, they are paid through our payroll, and then we remit the fee to the schools. And it's basically a wash.
Okay.
We don't make a profit off of those at all.
And so you had said that 64% of your total
Taxes.
is coming from the general, how are you gonna get to it?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Property taxes,
Property
64%.
tax. And that includes both residential and commercial properties.
Correct.
Within Medford. That's not just the residents are paying 4%.
Correct.
That 17 million is coming from our business
Yes.
districts as well.
Total, all property classes are included in that number, yes.
Okay. And the average assessed home is
331,000 and change.
which would net, so if, residents that are listening, if we're paying $13,000 a year in taxes.
Yes.
We are the average assessed home.
Correct.
But those paying less than $13,000 a year, that $100 increase is proportionally less.
Correct.
Right.
Right, so $103 is for the average home. Yes, that would be the increase on an annual basis for the average homeowner.
But if your taxes last year were $26,000, let's just say you owned a home and they were 26.
Yes,
You could expect a municipal increase
of $200,000,
of $200.
of $200, correct.
$200.
Or $50 per quarter.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
and proportionate, certainly. Yes,
I just want to thank you again for the presentation.
Certainly.
I want to also thank you, Mr. Gentili, for letting me interrupt your Costco run yesterday.
No problem.
My tax abatement question.
No problem. I hope I answered that.
You did, thank
Okay, great.
As I expressed last week at the council meeting, I will share again tonight, I have grave concern that we as a township are heading towards a fiscal cliff because of the reliance on surplus fund balance over the past 10 years. In this proposed budget, there's a $250,000 one-time revenue for the sale of the old library.
Yes,
That just alone covers the 17% health benefit increase. So if we have a 17% health benefit increase next year, we already don't have the funds to cover that. We have in this fiscal budget, this calendar year budget, to balance this budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, you reduced proposed expenditures by $1.3 million.
correct.
That reduction tightens the budget so much so that the ability to generate fund balance, surplus balance revenue at the end of calendar year 26, we are not going to meet the threshold that we achieved for this year, which we ended in 25.
Correct.
So we're already going into 27, we're going to be facing a major deficit,
Yes.
most likely in terms of surplus fund balance,
Correct.
as well as just overall revenue.
Correct.
As I said last week, upon adoption of this budget, we're almost going to immediately have to institute a spending freeze to try and maintain some level of surplus for next year.
To regenerate, correct.
Regenerate.
Yes.
And even just looking at the 3-cent proposed tax rate increase for this calendar year, we're not even hitting the threshold that we're supposed to maintain for all taxes that we have to pay out to the other tax entities. Because we're only generating $950,000. We have to make sure we're having reserve. I think it's $1.2 million
Correct.
for the schools and the county and whatnot. So I really just want the community to realize where we are financially and where we're headed. That this is not sustainable, and some drastic actions are going to have to take place as we look into 27 and beyond.
Correct. I I would say not increasing municipal taxes for 8 years had a compounding effect and led us to where we are today. Unfortunately, you cannot continue to provide the same services that Medford residents rely upon, and all of our bills have gone up at home substantially in the last 8 years. I know mine has. So the township is not, exempt from that. So we've basically, I would say our departments do a wonderful job. I give so much credit to them. They work within what's given to them. They've received the same amount of O&E, honestly, for the past 3-4 years. I would say it's a bare bones budget. There's very little fluff, specifically in this year as well.
And it's difficult to do that when you're facing 4% salary increases.
That are contractual, right.
Contractual or otherwise.
Right. And that's where we cut $1.3 million in O&E this year, because we did not lay anyone off. We did not, we didn't, of course, didn't fill any positions that were vacant, but there was only a handful of those. But yes. Yes, go ahead. Yes, sorry.
So, as you had a line item on there for solid waste collection at $2.86 billion.
Yes.
I believe that's entirely with Republic Services.
So this is Republic Services as well as the Burlington County landfill. We have to pay for them to dispose. So Republic drops off our trash at the landfill, and we get a monthly bill from them as well.
So I understand, I could be wrong here, that was pretty much like a non-competitive bid. If there were
Correct.
people that actually respond.
They were the only bidder, correct.
So I'm going to be super nice here and just say that nobody likes the service that Republic provides. From miscollections, the trash being dumped on the street, to the attitude when you call them and tell them that they dumped your stuff all over the street. Frankly, they suck. And I'll leave it at that. An automated side loader truck is roughly $350K. And expected costs over 10 years are another $1 million, 1.1. So you can do the math there. We could insource this and increase the reliability and increase the accountability, hire local Medford residents to do this, potentially, and still save money.
Yes.
So I don't know if this was looked at, if
Yes.
it's going to be looked at, but I really hope that we do, because there's got to be a better solution there. We can save money and get better reliability, and it's like a win-win. So
Certainly.
I'm not a CPA, so.
No, it's okay. I'm not
I'll
either.
let it know.
No, I'm not either. It's okay. We did have, of course, trash in-house long before I worked here. It is definitely a conversation that we have, whether it be bringing it in-house. We've met with a local Medford company, a husband and wife that live within Medford and own their own trash service. They have come to town hall and met with us, the prior manager and I. And we have also talked about, if we order trucks today, we're not seeing them for years, right? So is it potential, and is it an option to get a used truck and do, one side of town until we can bring it completely in-house? We certainly are looking at that. I will say the trash contract was a 3-year contract, and that is up the end of this year. So it's certainly on our radar. It has been on our radar for quite some time. If the trash trucks didn't have such a long lead time, I would say it would have already been something that was kind of brought in-house sooner. Yes, Mary?
Is there any kind of penalty for non-performance? Because
Yes.
it's been 3 weeks now that we've had problems with our trash.
Do you want to say?
So I would assume that there would be.
That would be addressed in the manager's report.
Yeah. But we are, to answer your question, able to assess liquidated damages for not completed routes, et cetera.
Follow-up
Yeah.
on that. The township employees, are they contractual?
Admin staff is not contractual, so that would be admin at the police, firehouse, public works, and town hall. But contractual, that is the people that have contractual agreements, 4-year agreements, are police, fire, EMS, public works, and utilities.
So the township employees, are they getting a raise this year?
A 2% raise.
And they're also getting the benefit of the health benefits and so on?
Correct. If they elect to take health insurance, yes. They're contributing more, though, due to their 2% raise. They contribute more in their to their health insurance contributions.
They will be contributing?
They do have to contribute more if their salary goes up, yes. If that makes sense. if I explained that right. Yes, sir.
What is the amount, the maximum amount? How do they determine how much fund balance you're allowed to have?
So there is not a cap on fund balance, it's just how much is left over from your prior year's budgets.
So they do not limit your fund balance like they do in an education budget.
They do not limit our fund balance, they do not limit how much we can use as revenue, but we are limited on how much we can raise taxes, therefore, you're not really necessarily able to generate a lot of surplus, because you're only able to raise taxes by 2% unless something's outside of the cap. So your surplus is really, we're not given the chance to really have a robust surplus, because we can only raise taxes so much, and most of the time that's for contractual increases that we need to budget for.
The only reason I'm asking is it's prudent sometimes to try to keep your fund balance
Certainly.
at a level
Yes,
where even if you have to raise the taxes more than you need,
Right.
keep that fund balance higher.
right. So this proposed budget is the most I can legally raise taxes. Unfortunately, I wish I could raise them more. I'm sorry to say that. But then we could generate more of a surplus. But I am only able to raise this, the 3.2 cents. That's the most the state will allow me to raise taxes this year. Even if I wanted to raise it 7 cents, I can't this year.
So now your only way of generating more fund balance is being prudent through the year.
Correct. So, and I would say the chances of that are rather slim, because we already cut 1.3 million of fluff, if you will, in the O&E side of the budget. Yes, ma'am.
Have the growing numbers in the Medford schools been considered? Because all the class sizes are getting larger. Not only that, Medford Township School is reaching out to other properties to rent space in other properties to house the number of children they have. And I do not believe this is going to go away with all the new building. So where are we headed for needing a new school? I'm very concerned. Looking forward, I agree with Mr. Cox. I see lots of things, just like a cliff, he said, or the shit's gonna hit the fan, I think. But I think we could have maybe seen this coming, because
Certainly.
the federal budget, they cut tax rates. The state cut their funding.
Correct.
And yet somehow I go to great senior programs in Evesham. They have marvelous facilities and marvelous programs there. We don't have very much at all.
So I will say I can't
And
speak.
the
Oh, sorry.
revenue, I mean, when we put up the revenue,
Mhm.
I thought, that's not, most, 90% of that wasn't really revenue. It was cuts to the budget. And is it realistic to freeze the fire and the police with, what our community is going through right now?
Certainly,
So I've got a lot of concerns.
certainly. So I
And I would actually say, unpopular, go ahead and raise the taxes, but you just told me you can't.
this is the most I can, is 3.2 cents.
Or find more ratables.
Correct.
I said to somebody,
Certainly.
bring in a small hotel. All my
Right.
guests have to go to Mount Laurel or Gordon's.
Right.
It's-
So I was just going to say, I can't speak for the school and what they will need in, as far as their budget, but I will say that they do collect 100% of their budget in its entirety. So what they need or what they request, they do get in 100% from the taxpayers. I will say that Evesham or other surrounding towns, they do bring in revenue for hotel tax, cannabis tax. There's several revenue streams that we do not have here in Medford it is a component of their budget, certainly. But I will say that the mayor is certainly looking into commercial ratables and certainly trying to do what we can on our end of trying to reduce the tax burden as much as possible and try to help with the budget predicament that we are in, unfortunately. Of course. Yes, Marianne?
Water and sewer departments, there's a surplus there.
Yes.
Does that money get moved to the general budget?
This year, we are only bringing in $65,000 of utility fund balance into the regular budget, because the Water and Sewer Department unfortunately has years of infrastructure improvements that it is behind on, and there is a lot that needs to be done to the plant, the water lines, the sewer, slip lining of the sewer lines. So I did not feel comfortable bringing in more than $65,000 into the regular budget, because I believe there's plenty of improvements that need to be made. That money needs to stay, I believe, within the Water and Sewer Department.
I'll ask a direct question. That infrastructure, are you planning it and keeping the money there because of the affordable housing and the need for the expansion of the sewer and water lines and new construction, and is that why it's sitting there? Instead of coming into the general budget?
I would say prior to round 4, these improvements certainly needed to be made. And I would say that regardless of more housing going, this needed to be done. And there is a much longer list of improvements at the plant, or many residents have come and said that their water lines need to be replaced in certain parts of town. We have a lead service project that we're working on that the state, another unfunded state mandate is to replace any lead service within the town by 2031. So I would say there's a laundry list of improvements at the utility department prior to affordable housing round 4.
So the increases that you guys just passed for the water and sewer rates,
Yes.
is it going to generate a surplus, or is it going to go into more expense?
The plan is that the extra revenue generated from these increases we just did at the 14th meeting would be to continue improvements at our well houses, slip lining sewer mains. If, for example, we had one sewer main break this winter due to the expansion and compaction of the pipes, it was $250,000 just for one super small section of a sewer line in one small neighborhood. Our goal is to slip line these sewer lines so that we can extend the useful life of these pipes. So I would say we're trying to be proactive with our utility department instead of reactive. So I would say the extra revenue generated from those, the fee ordinance, is to take care of improvements that have been long awaited.
Unequivocally say that a significant amount of money is not going to the north side of town for the water and sewer.
The new ratepayers will pay for that.
The improvements to the infrastructure.
Which is the right question,
So the amount that they're keeping in reserve for improvements to the water and sewer lines is not, the majority of it is not going to the north side.
I would say the needs are prioritized by the Director of Public Works and Utilities. So
So no burden of public works.
I would
Just say, I can just jump in, I know like some of, still live there, but, like for instance, Lake Pine, you
Yeah.
know, they're doing Lake Pine water main project. So that project is brand new water lines, within the Lake Pine,
Correct.
additional fire hydrants, and then going back and then repaving those streets, because those streets are in desperate need of repaving. And those projects, like, Lindsay said, are prioritized by our Director of Public Works. We've got the Well 6 project, that we just funded,
yes.
last meeting, which is to rehabilitate that well. That's one of the largest wells in the
In
township.
town.
That is, I'll have to get to that answer. I'm not exactly sure where well 6 is. But, you know, that's one of, like I said, our largest wells in town. I believe it's on the north side of the highway, but don't quote me on that. I can find out for sure. But that's what those increases are going to. You know, it's not one side of town or the other. It's the global infrastructure of the township that those projects are going to fund.
And
As well as the lead abatement that has to be done by 2030.
the lead service line abatement, correct. And also, I will say the utility operating account has a balance of $3.3 million. So the surplus is less than $1 million because we still have salaries that come out of there, other expenses, which is to run the plant, water distribution, sewer treatment, all the chemicals to run the plant. I would say, so the surplus is nothing to rave about also in the utility department. I will say that. That's also why I only used $65,000 in the regular budget. Go ahead.
I don't know if we can have, I just have a general statement, so, not every water and sewer ratepayer is a taxpayer.
Correct.
So you have to look at that at both sides. Like, I happen to have, in my home,
Right, so for example, the payroll person, she does payroll for the entire town, including the utilities department. My office processes purchase orders and reconciles bank statements for the utilities department. The clerk's office does resolutions, ordinances for the utilities department. The tax office, they collect all of the water and sewer payments, so a portion of their office should be charged there, correct?
So it's not, we don't see a balance and then take it because we need it.
No.
That would be unfair to.
The other payers that are just taxpayers and not water and sewer users.
There's been in-depth calculations to determine how much expense is incurred.
And is appropriate to take in,
Yeah.
correct? Yes, Zach?
I guess a comment on that and then just an overall question. So it's interesting to hear you talk about the costs that are going to be associated with bringing up our infrastructure to where it needs to be. When 2 years or so ago, we were absolutely assured in all of these meetings that when Magnify was opening and there were concerns about our capacity for sewer and water, that this was not going, that this new business that was going to use a lot of water was not going to be a problem. We had plenty of infrastructure that it was not a concern, and now I'm hearing that in fact our infrastructure is a concern, and I'm just kind of throwing that out there as a comment, and would love to hear in the future from council members if there's anything behind that and what the public should know about that. And then the other, because I don't think that you can answer anything about that, I just wanted to put that out as a comment and relate to this conversation. But the question is more kind of a long-term view. I mean, I don't know about anybody else here, but I'm getting a pretty dire picture with all of this. Extrapolating this out year over year, considering the increased costs that the town is going to be facing and the limited amount that you're allowed to increase taxes, where do we in fact hit that cliff of not being able to afford our expenses without severe austerity measures beyond what we're already looking at?
Yeah, I would say comfortably last year was my moment of feeling as though we had wiggle room. And I would say with knowing how much we can raise taxes each year, the only real solution would be new ratables.
New variables, or looking at reduction in force going forward, those types of things. So right now, with the work that they did to cut expenditures down to 1.3 million, there isn't much more room aside from staffing at this point, honestly, to reduce.
RIFs for municipal means cuts in services.
Right.
That I just, let's not just talk about reduction in forces, that means
Right.
reduction in services. So,
So things that are allowed to be outside of the cap that I mentioned is shared service. So for example, say we could use a town for trash services. I could put that outside of the cap, so then I would be allowed to raise taxes that much more. And that would be less O&E that's going towards solid waste collection because it would be a shared service, if that makes sense. So it's thinking outside the box of things that if we can only if we know 2% is a hard cap, what can be outside of that cap? Shared service is one of them. So it's certainly a discussion. Louis, did you have a question? Okay. I can't speak for why the state funding has been cut for Lenape Regional, but I would say it's certainly not just them. We're seeing it ourselves, the Board of Ed, it's across the state. I think the state's budget has just decreased over the years, and that's why there's less funding for each entity. I can put that back up for you. Yes?
This is, I guess, a general budget question. It's the first time I've ever seen anything, regarding the budget. What benefit does Medford get from a tax abatement?
So because Magnify was in the historical district, I believe that is why they were offered the tax abatement. I believe that's the reason that they were offered one. It's because it was within the historical district of town. But to answer your question, there is no benefit to us or to the schools offering a tax abatement. It quite literally just phases them in. It's given to these people to promote building or renovation within the historical district. It's an incentive for people to come bring their business here, not something that we've come up with. That's just the state's program. So it's an incentive for them to come in, and that's why they're offered the 5-year tax abatement. It phases them in.
Did they give us any guarantee that they would stay beyond 5 years? What if they closed down?
I can't speak for how long they'll stay
It's a mechanism to encourage businesses to come.
into town.
Respectfully, Mike, they were looking in town for months before they found that property, so, I mean, I get that that's what it's intended for,
I was just
but in
using the
the case of
general
this
mechanism.
property, that's not what it was used for.
And I will say that property is now valued, of course, much higher than what was there. On the flip side, I'm trying to be positive a little, in 2031, the valuation now of that building is certainly much more than what was there. So that will bring in more revenue, and certainly more revenue than the town hall building did, because now it's not owned by the town, just to try to explain the increase on the valuation. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
First of all, nice job on that.
Thank you.
Second of all, is that presentation going to be available for me to get downloaded off the website?
Yes, so it's already on the township website, as well as a recording of me doing it on the 14th, as well as the state budget document.
Perfect. The second part is, as a realtor in Medford, I am most frequently asked about the tax rate in this town and other towns in Burlington County.
Right.
I would like to know what the tax rate is currently here, which I think I know, but I want to hear it from you, and what it's going to go to based on this proposal.
Okay, so in 2025, our rate was 0.519 for municipal tax, and we're proposing tonight to increase it to 0.550.
550?
Correct.
Okay, and that's an increase. Okay, got it.
A 3.2 cent increase.
Right, and that's pretty much what the maximum is going to allow. You're saying the budget that you're proposing increases taxes to the max, like there's not much more that can be done other than floating what we're going to spend and on what. That could change.
Correct.
Right? But there's really no other way to do it but cut, right? Cut services, or cut salaries. That could bring the rate down. But other than that, we're going to live with the 0.550.
For the municipal tax, yes. I can't speak for the other entities, but yes, correct.
And then if I compare, I think one of the big answers to this is I get asked this a lot. Why is the rate in Marlton different than Mount Laurel, that kind of thing. And I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. But the truth of the matter is, someone touched on this, they do have a lot more ratables. And ratables
Certainly.
are commercial businesses.
Yes.
And that's what brings the rates down in
Yes.
those towns. They're attracting businesses. I know we might not agree with all of that, but I'm not seeing how we get out of this, other than trying to encourage more renewables, which a lot of people complain about, me included. I don't want a lot of business here. But it's been for years. It's the only way to get taxes down. So I just want people to understand that as an agent, as a real estate agent, I discuss this a lot with people. And why do you still want to come to Medford instead of going to Marlton or Mount Laurel or Cherry Hill, where the rates are going to be lower? Because you still have a more urban kind of quality of life.
Certainly.
You don't have that Main Street mentality, which we're kind of pushing for all the time here, but whatever. That's the reason people want to come here. The school system and the fact that it's got this atmosphere of, I don't know, old-time Medford as far as we can take it.
Right.
I mean, that's it. So I just want to discourage people from throwing eggs at commercial enterprises. That's it. Thank you.
I so agree. I'd like to see people vote on that in October when we have a vote in November. Because 10 years ago, or how many years ago, we tried to put some big box stores in, it was voted down. If we had bought those big box stores in like a Target or a Walmart, nobody wanted it, but guess what? We wouldn't be in this position today. Plain and simple.
I was just keen on that to say, what she said, you take a look at these other towns, Eastham, your population is about 55,000 people. Mount Laurel, you're about 55,000 people right now. Medford, you're 24,000 and change.
Right.
So we're about 50% population of what they are, but then you look at their corridors, you've got 73, 70, like 38, 295 in these other towns. We don't have that, but we do have a state highway that runs through our town that, is prime real estate. So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at.
I would say the tipping point is either increased ratables or to keep Medford, the Medford that she was referring to, it would be a referendum, because there are no other options, in my opinion. Yes.
Thank you. I got a question. So early on, and you're just a messenger, I didn't catch your name.
Lindsay.
Lindsay, okay. Early on, we were told that we were going to go bankrupt if they didn't bring in enough business on Main Street. That was a big driving point with the old administration, and they moved mountains to do that. You know, ignored parking laws and stuff like that, storm runoff, a lot of state laws and stuff like that. I'm wondering, how much money has Main Street brought in based on everything we were told and how it was going to turn the community around? There was even a lady that stood up there and said that the old administration is leaving people like yourself, Mike, with a ton of money. You guys are flush with cash. Now, this is only the beginning of 2025, but and I think she specifically was talking about Main Street, the business and stuff. Can I have a general idea of how much of an impact the commercial businesses have had on Main Street?
I don't have that data now, but I could certainly get it to you.
How much you- All right. Well, Chuck kept telling us we're going to be rich. I got another question. Is it possible that the school board and the council could all get together at one meeting? Because it seems like a lot of the times we can't answer questions for what they're doing and vice versa.
Right.
And I wonder if it's separated for a reason. Let's get everybody in one room together and could we, and I'm sorry, I know you're just a messenger, but
okay.
this is something that I think could be really beneficial for us. And then maybe there's less pointing fingers and we all understand, you know, how our taxes are getting broken down. With all them in one room. And I know that was kind of an open-ended question, but
That's okay.
I've got.
Jump into that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I was gonna say, I know that our council speaks to the Board of Ed, the Board of Ed speaks to us. I think the important thing to remember is we're not putting these slides up there as an us versus them. That's not where they're there. We want the taxpayers to understand when you pay this amount of money, this is where your taxes are going. And just like us, the school district is probably one of the largest employers in the township. They have a lot of buildings, they have their own transportation system, so their costs are increasing just like ours. So, you know, for us, I don't see it as an us versus them. I see it as we're all in this kind of together with the school district, and it's just that whole chunk of money. Where is all that money going? Because I know a lot of people.
It's going to the schools.
It's
85 cents per dollar of our tax money is going to the school district.
Right, but
So, it's more.
Maybe both parties are getting along really well now, but I know, like, leading up the last couple of years, there was even council members that said, yo, we haven't talked to anybody at the school board, and there has been, and back and forth. I just thought, hey, it would be really easy. Let's get everybody in the room together, and we can go. I don't mean blaming or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, so I understand. I just thought simple, easy, maybe a couple of the top guys from each board, and we all talk. I got one more question too. The sewer, it is falling apart.
No, we need to make improvements to the aging infrastructure that we currently have. Because unfortunately, we're being reactive when there's a break instead of being proactive and doing like slip lining of the sewer lines that can increase the useful life of them.
We asked these questions just last year, and environmental resolutions and also the township attorney, because of this development that's coming, reassured us. I mean, they literally, it sounded like we had the best sewer system in America with the way they were talking about. And not only can it handle everything that's coming to the north side, but even Samos can hop on, and there's room for him. It just seems endless. Like that loaf of bread, okay?
They may have been speaking towards the capacity, which the capacity is different than the infrastructure needing to be improved. It's no different than our homes or our cars needing continuous improvement.
Those repairs, are they funded by the people
Correct. Yes, yes,
I wish I had a sewer, I have a septic. And
yes.
so we
you
don't,
don't pay a sewer rate, Brad, right?
right.
Right, you pay a water rate, by chance?
No, I don't have a well.
Yeah,
Right.
so you don't have a bill that you pay quarterly.
Correct. So,
To the utility, you have a tax bill.
Right.
so,
Like I have the opposite, I have city water and city sewer, so my quarterly bill funds this general.
so the rule,
Putting money into a general budget from the sewer fund, right?
so it's the utility operating account, and it has to be self-liquidating. That's the rule, which means any funds collected have to pay for the improvements or to run the plant, the staff. So self-liquidating means it has to be able to sustain itself. It doesn't get funding from any other source. So the ratepayers pay to run the water and sewer plant and the infrastructure needed.
Thank you.
It's an enterprise fund, 100%. Yes, sir.
Can you clarify, so you were talking about, there might be $103, increase.
Yes.
For homes, and we're paying, $13,000. But that's not reflective of the school budget in county.
Correct. This is just the municipal increase.
So you had some numbers up there, which I think were, I don't know if it's the projected numbers.
These?
Yeah.
Yes.
9.1% estimated increase. What is that? I can't do that math that quickly. So what is that on a $13,000 home look like?
It's about $500 on the average.
About $500. So we're not talking about a $100 increase. We're talking about 500, potentially 500 or more.
Correct. I'm just presenting on the municipal portion because the other schools and the county's rates have not been struck. But this is just an estimate of where their rates may fall based on the prior 8 years and my projections.
Right. Well, I think that's important to have that discussion here now so people hear that because they're hearing, oh, I can deal with $100 a year. But it's not. It's going to be $500 or $600 an increase.
Yes.
So my next question is, how long have you been the CFO? Karen?
3 years.
3 years. And from some of your comments, it sounds like you haven't been listened to. And this is for people who have lived here for a while. I moved back here in '95. This is just deja vu all over again. And this is absurd. And I don't know if it's because I know there's some things that are out of your control, but I don't know if it's just because we have had just terrible management of this township for the past 2.5 decades. I don't really understand why we are where we are.
I would
This is really
Yeah.
distressing to hear that, okay, well, all bets are off like next year. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have to do 2%, hold a referendum to get, convince, residents to raise it, 4%, because we have no options. There's only so far you can cut services.
Correct.
Because everybody wants, their garbage picked up and their brush piles, picked up. So I just find it really, really troubling that this township seems to just churn through, managers. They bring in, they might have a good manager, and then because of politics, they fire that person, and then they hire somebody else who turns out to not be so great. So I don't know if there's a shortage of good township, managers or people like yourself who can actually run a business like Medford Township. So I think that's really, really troubling. I think, I don't know, we have to have a come to Jesus discussion about like what the future of this township looks like. And part of that is having really competent people like yourself and or township manager who are not beholden to, politics or whatever, but are running the township the way a township should be run. So we're not finding ourselves in this position.
Thank you. I would say that, thank you for that. I would say not raising municipal taxes for 8 years created this perpetual budget cycle that we are in right now. There's not really a guess to me of why we're in this predicament. That is it has a compounding effect.
They were having the same discussion. But we didn't raise taxes for 10 years. And now, we were one of 2 towns in the state that Chris Christie was threatening to, take over because we were almost bankrupt. And we had to, fire back then, like whatever, 2/3 of the township staff, privatize the trash collection.
Right.
So, I don't know. It
The
seems
taxes
like
have gone up after the last 8 years, I'm sorry, but my taxes have gone up
But not the municipal portion for the prior, not the last 2 years, but the 8 years before that, they did not, they were not increased, sorry, yeah.
I just want to address the tax rate increases. So, as Brian, as you said, your taxes have gone up until, forgive me, Lindsay.
2024.
24, the municipal portion of your taxes you mentioned did not increase. It was steady during that period of time. The schools may have gone up.
The county.
The county may have gone up, but the municipal taxes held flat.
For 8 years.
For 8 years. So, there's the two sides of the coin. You raise taxes that impact you now, but without raising taxes, I think it's had a compounding effect that we're discussing now. But you're absolutely right. Your taxes have gone up.
Yes.
It is that cycle, but that bill, again, is made up of those.
4 entities.
Yeah. So, we understand that we have to increase taxes to keep up with ongoing costs. As Councilman Cox said, just the employment increases alone that Mary Lou just brought up, contractually 4%, our employees are going to see an increase. We can only raise by
2%.
2%. We're going to cross paths pretty soon. So we don't like to raise taxes, right? But we know that it's our duty to make sure that we have the funds available for the CFO to fund these things that need to happen.
But that's not totally true, is it? Because the tax assessment record is one of the few towns, not few, I'm going to take that back, one of the towns, that the assessment goes up a certain percentage every year. Well, that assessment goes up even though the tax rate stays the same, the taxes go up. So your revenue did go up, and it's mostly because it's prudent to start increasing assessments. So your rate may stay the same, the revenue's more.
But I will say our average assessed home has barely increased over the past 3 years. And that's really what this comes down to.
Yeah.
So our net valuation taxable, so it takes the entire levy and it divides it by the net valuation taxable for the whole town.
That assessment is not going to overcome
Anything that we're discussing today.
I mean, it won't even hit 8%. It's around, I don't say round error. It has an impact, but not to the effect that it's going to generate surplus.
So a couple of years ago, there was a company going house to house to get ready for a reassessment. Is that still on the books?
What's our availability for reassessment?
So Sean is looking about doing a revaluation program starting next year.
Yeah, there is a process to that through our taxes.
And it's already been, it's been in effect because they went visiting people's houses.
They had to stop that because of COVID, because if you can't start and end it within a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for him, but because of COVID, he had to stop the program.
It was 20% per year for 5 years. We didn't stop because of COVID, so we weren't able to restart it. I'll let you get back. I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
In what you just said, the crossing of the revenue versus
Yeah.
expenses and getting yourself into an underwater position, and what other people were saying about the need to recognize that taxes have to increase for that, is it unreasonable of the public to ask the council work with the CFO to put together a multi-year plan that commits to raising taxes over a period of time along with this rateable creation, and then communicate that to the public so that
from.
We don't have any answers, I know, but people need to be aware that.
Yes, we are not alone in this by any means, but I would say there are some towns that may appear to be in a better picture, a better predicament than us, and it would just be due to the size of their town, and perhaps they have revenue streams that just Medford has not ventured into yet. But I would say there's not like something that town's doing that we're, you know what I mean? There's not a ton of options. Yeah, right. We can only, do permit fees and court fines and traffic tickets of so much volume. Our revenue streams are limited. Yes, Mary?
Back to the contractual agreements that you're starting this year.
Yes.
How many years out are you anticipating developing contracts with different entities that are contractual?
So I will say the police are broken out into the POA and the SOA, so police officers and superior officers. There's two different agreements. Those expired 12/31/2025. We are still active in negotiations with them, and when that is settled, that's a 4-year contract. Public Works is a 4-year contract, utilities, EMS, and fire as well, 4-year contractual agreements. But they all are staggered start and end times, but they're all 4 years of length.
And that's common throughout.
And I would say almost all municipalities would have that same exact structure. In fact, even Evesham, their admin, their town hall staff, is also in a union as well. So they are guaranteed a set amount each year, whereas our admin is not in a union.
Well, I guess my question is that you're providing additional or a higher rate health benefit package, correct, for all of those entities?
So you're talking specifically the contract language for the.
Yes.
So all of the rates, the
Contribution
contribution
percentages.
rates are set by Chapter 78 through the state. So like if you make, say, $39,000 to $45,000, and I'm just throwing numbers out, these aren't the hard fast ones, you may pay 8% or 10%, and it also varies depending on whether you're a single person,
Married or family coverage.
a family coverage, or a parent with a child, you may be divorced, separated, whatever it might be. So the state broke those out, and while they are now negotiable, most of the towns, and ours included, have stuck to those set numbers that the state put into effect. I believe that was on Governor Christie,
Correct.
so that Chapter 78.
I understand that, but I'm saying that, but we're paying that in addition to what they pay, the salaries.
We're paying the
You're
same.
paying the salary, and then the employee is paying their portion of the benefits out of their salary.
And-
It's deducted from their salary.
And then we pay for the rest of their health insurance cost, yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying that we are paying, in addition to the rate increase of their salaries, we're paying
Correct.
the health benefit.
Yes, so this year's budget is $3.8 million. That's for health insurance as well as general liability insurance for the town as well, workers' comp, et cetera.
Well, it just seems that, what you're saying, that the township employees are getting 2% on their salary? Is that what you mentioned earlier?
Admin staff, yes.
Okay, and then whatever percentage then, toward we're paying the health benefit then too.
Correct, but they are also
So you're
contributing
saying that then those contracts are for a 4-year period.
for police, fire, public works, EMS,
My
utilities.
question on that is, given our current situation, how do we know where we'll be in 3 years or 4 years? Isn't that a long time to book out a certain amount of money given our current fiscal situation?
It is, go ahead,
Yes,
certainly.
and these are challenges that any municipality is going to face. We need to provide a worthy enough contract to incentivize employees to either stay with us or come to us. So,
Right.
and we do struggle with this. Let's be very open. We're like the largest Highlands town, but we're, as Chief Doby mentioned, we're half the size of our non-Highlands neighbor.
Right.
So we're in this unique position where we're trying to maintain
I would say, like Mike Mayor said, it's our job to be competitive and try to retain quality staff that are providing these services to our residents.
Just one other point, not on that, if you don't mind. I'm concerned that, we're sending our residents with their treated wood to Mansfield. That's 32 miles round trip. And I think that that's, not only is it a gross inconvenience, but with the cost of gas, why are we taking wood up there? It would probably just be dumped.
You're talking about the
Pressure-treated lumber. Correct.
Yes, and the concern is that people aren't going to do the 32 miles an hour. They're going to put it in their trash can and leave it in. We're not going to get the ecological, or the benefit that we're seeking by doing that. 32 miles an hour.
It's a long ride in the county. I don't know how many people have been up there, but it's a day trip.
That's one of the largest costs that when we
Of
look
the
at-
yard.
of the dump.
Pressure treated?
Pressure-treated lumber as well as tires, because we have to pay extra to remove of the tires and the pressure-treated lumber. It's a different type of class.
Pressure treated lumber, guys, to begin with. I seen somebody on a swing set this morning, tree hit. They gotta take this thing up to the county, or they're gonna, like she's saying, saw little pieces and throw in the trash can. But I don't think these people are set up to get this up to Mansfield. Meaning, so you are taking a service away. How much money are we talking per year?
We're projecting, just a projection was $50,000 we're saving.
Pressure treated?
Just the disposal fee of pressure.
All right, here's a loaded question. Is there commercial companies coming in to the township dump and getting rid of supplies that they are making money from?
Not if they
Cleaning
can't
up.
dump pressure-treated lumber anymore.
Why no, but why can't you go after the companies? I know we've talked in the past, a couple guys were now us in the area. Tell them to get out. The government's going to solve problems, not say, hey, everybody's out
We've
now.
adjusted the dump hours to Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes.
We've added an extra Saturday, and we've done that so the specific employees that are best suited to check the IDs and really the best employees we have to govern or guard against commercial use of our dump are on site during those times. So
You got Liz Rosser out there. I don't know if you know her, but they're a school family, go way back.
she's the best.
In this community.
Yeah.
I still, though, think like a couple guys were coming in with a commercial business, and they screwed it up for everybody.
I don't think for everybody,
The
Brian.
government couldn't say, yo, you get out of here. This is for the swing set people, like Shawnee High School. I mean, literally, it was 10 pieces. And the guy was telling me, I guess the word gets out really fast when the township wants the residents to hear, because they were already aware. I thought I was going to drop a bomb on him saying, you can't. He's like, I already know I can't. So I just think that if there's problems in the public works, I know our neighboring towns, they're not, they're still accepting, Lumber Township's still accepting pressure treated lumber. How?
They're just absorbing those costs.
Yeah,
The question would be, Brian, and I'll relate it back to like the water sewer, right? For those of us, I would say the mass population of Medford that doesn't dump pressure-treated lumber at the dump, is this a fair item to omit from our expense side?
Mike, I've never even used the school district here. I've been giving kids, so I've spent a lot of money investing in that. I understand.
Right, so that's where, again, I mean, we've laid out a pretty Hainsport Enterprises.
We're going to Hainsport for oil changes.
Right, and then we've discussed, was it shared service?
What's in Hainsport?
So we were looking at shared services. Hainsport's on state contract for us, so that's, so, and they go out, we go out to bid for that, so Hainsport had the bid, and then, again, just like any other bid, you have the option to extend it.
That's a bid on fleet services, though.
Correct.
Yes.
And we check, like if they say it's $60 an oil change, are we paying 60, or is the bill coming through?
Bill, Brian, all five of us get the bill list. We vote on it every council meeting. We have the CFO and who else?
My accounts payable staff.
Yeah, they present us with this bills list, and I'll give Donna a lot of credit. She was the guru, but, she's not here, so we kind of all take it on upon ourselves to look at these bill lists and make sure that the diesel fuel charges, the repair services for our fleet, every item is on that bill list, so.
I think I went to the acting manager on why there's so many supplies.
Yeah.
Like, it
Good,
seems to
this
be
is
a lot
long,
of
yes, it's
supplies.
all getting cut back around. I don't know, are you guys able to negotiate? Let's just say our old solicitor, I'm sure he whacked us on his way out, couldn't have been happy. Are you guys able to look at that bill and say, well, look, man, we're not gonna give you that, we're gonna,
You're talking about legal services?
yeah,
Yeah. One of the, I guess, general agreements that we have as council is not to overutilize legal services. So if there is a matter that requires legal services, we're to include the manager in those conversations. So that way they're aware of, there's going to be a bill coming, and they may be able to handle it before legal jumps in. So there's many mechanisms that we have in place to govern ourselves, so we're not overspending
But
all of our money.
every year, we do appointed professional services contracts, and they have to submit their hourly rates. So every year,
Contracts, though, they can be a little funny at times, man. I follow them and I try to stay on top of it. The other day, they were out there changing light bulbs at Bob Bendy's soccer park for the lights out there. The guy's got the machine that I own sitting, same machine, sitting right in our yard. I had no idea you guys were looking, you needed a machine that goes up 72 feet. I could have driven my machine over, it would have been $1,000 for the day to rent it. You guys, I believe, are on the hook. I don't know, it's $3,000+, and then there's a markup on the bulbs, but I didn't understand, where did the bid come from? So the bid went up it just pops up and it's gone a month later.
for
That fast.
for electrical services.
Yeah, how would I even follow that? You know what I mean? If I wanted to help us all out, it would have been a great day for me. I don't even have to really go far. I would have cut you guys a huge break. But I don't even get a chance. Companies out of Pennsylvania, I'm like, how do they know about this? How do they know about these light bulbs that need to get changed?
So it's advertised on our website for a certain amount of time, and then when it closes, whoever submitted the
Right,
bids.
but there are clearly
State guidelines.
state guidelines that we have to follow, and there's companies that, I don't want to speak negatively about it, but they make their money off of fulfilling municipal or government bids. So if that's.
You guys could save money if you just got it out there and said, yo, any contractors in the area, like the pressure treated, everybody knows you can't take.
All of our municipal bids, if I'm not mistaken, Lindsay, are all on our website.
Yeah.
For everything that we
Check
bid
them
out. Everything that we
They
bid
have
out.
admins in these organizations that all they do is check.
If you guys need something done in the sky, can you reach out to Cornerstone Tree Service for real? I know it would make you grind your teeth to hire us, okay? But we could save the taxpayers some money.
You did a great job helping out the folks at the animal shelter, at the.
Fur baby event, maybe because I don't work that day. I heard it went great. I wasn't sure with Forest all day. I got one more question, and this was something Jason brought up. He said some of, the cost with this new development is going to be on the taxpayers, and you guys kind of said, no, it's all the builder. But let's just say trash cans. Now, I heard a neighboring town, 155 homes went in. They needed each one trash can. $50,000 had to come out of the township budget. Those are things that I think you could probably maybe negotiate with Horton
Right, the developer.
and make sure, because if that's 150 and we're talking 800 homes, I can't, what does a trash can cost? Does anybody know? Is that what it is? I should go in that business.
That's the county, yes.
County, but I would look at, and this isn't the first development coming here, there must be an understanding, oh man, when something like this does, can we talk to Horton and give him a little bit of a deal? Mike, you talking crap about me?
No, yeah. The microphone's on, so I won't talk crap at you. But I just want to confer with Lindsay. So we have a contract with our manager for public services, which we all love. And part of that agreement is that they provide the receptacle,
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
So,
part of picking up the trash.
right.
Yes.
They break them and don't replace them.
Yeah. So just to be, again, the other side of that point, we no longer have a public service.
Taking the cans.
They, in theory, have the ability to take their
Cans.
back.
Yes.
So I just want to throw all that out there.
Hey, one more thing, when that trash company come by, they put so much high quality food.
This gentleman has his hand up.
So I just want to clarify that Cornerstone is inviting you to take all their pressure treated lumber to their.
Yes, I will already, no problem. All get together.
Brought up some interesting points, and I keep harking back to the 2008, 2009 era, but I will for a second, because for those of you around, remember that the township, the new sort of governing body came in and said, oh, holy shit, we've been overpaying all of our, vendors, in the tune of hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars. They can, created their own sort of, did their own investigation. Czech guy was kind of headed that up, had a whole team of people who looked at that. So I guess my question is I hope you're not still doing that, right? Because, a lot of this was, based on politics, they were hiring their political buddies to pave roads and stuff, and they would say, oh, it's gonna cost us $300,000, they'd come back and say, yeah, it's cost us $380,000, and they would just sort of get signed off and rubber stamp. So what kinds of things are in place now to prevent that from happening, to have more controls over, those types of things? And undoubtedly, there are jobs that, things that happen, whether it's a sewer thing or a paving thing, but legitimate, like,
Right.
unforeseen things come up and this would cost over.
Yeah.
So how do you guys deal with that?
I would say the bid process has certainly become more stringent over years, and one of the documents that's in the bid package is a pay-to-play form. So anyone who is putting a bid in for any project have to put if they have contributed to any political affiliation or organization in any way, any donation at all. So I would say that is one document that for sure puts them on the hook for that. And I would say it's also very competitive for like a road program. We could have 6 or 7 people place bids, and we've been pleasantly surprised the last year how competitive the bids have actually come in at. We've been able to pave more roads than anticipated the last 2 years due to the competitive bids and how many parties did show to the table. I will say there was a bid recently for one of the well houses that we had to reject, and we did not award the contract just because I did not have the funds to do so, and I wasn't comfortable doing that. So I would say the process is that all of our bids are reviewed by our township attorney as well, and there are so many forms that are required to be filled out by these parties. So I would say you could rest assured it's...
What is the process now, though, if there is a paving project, the bid was $300,000, they bid in, and they come back and say, you know what, we need more money, because of X, Y, Z.
Correct.
What is that process? Is it just you, or is it how many people?
No, so the professional would tell the engineer that they want to do, they have to have a change order. The change order can't exceed 20%, bless you, of the original contract. So if there's a change order, one, I have to tell them if I can even certify funds. So that's required with the resolution for the change order, that I can certify the funds are available. If the funds aren't available, we don't even do the change order. If the funds are available, it's read as a resolution at a council meeting. But I would say the total amount of change orders cannot exceed 20% of the original contract price that was awarded at the time of the bid.
What's that 20%? Is that something that's always been in place for a long time, or is this?
It's a state law, the 20%, yes. And I would say, for example, last year, the only reason the paving program had a change order is because the vendor had given us a competitive rate, and we actually were able to have a few more miles of roadway paved because we had budgeted a certain amount for the road program. The bid came in competitively, so the engineer asked the paver if they could do a couple more miles of roadway for us, and that's the only reason we did a change order, to take advantage of that price that was locked in at the time of the bid.
It is important to note, though, that also we're locked into various contracts for payments. For instance, New Jersey American Water. There was a contract entered into, I think, as part of the initial Sanos property piece way back when, that was requiring water to be purchased from New Jersey American Water. So the township has been in a contract with that for that water supply to tens of thousands of dollars extra per month. But obviously with the Sanos property not being developed, there hasn't been a need for that water. So we've been somewhat overpaying New Jersey American Water for that water supply for the past, number of years. But that is, and we did ask legal counsel this year to examine that contract to see if there was a way of terminating it. Unfortunately, it does not seem that is the case. So we are now working with other municipalities to fight New Jersey American Water's proposed 18% rate hike.
Correct.
Because obviously we do not need that water right now, yet we're still paying for it, and we've been paying for it for years. So probably close to $10 million in excess payments that have played out. I think it's around $65,000, $75,000 extra per month.
Yes.
To $78,000 to New Jersey American Water for that water that's not used.
Yes.
I have one more thing to say, and I'm going to shut up because I want to get the public comments for everything else. Since you brought up the whole pay-to-play thing, is there anything on record, any procedure, policy, law, anything related to the township professionals with pay-to-play? Because, for example, like drawing wall, tower design, environmental resolutions, not for nothing, they make some pretty big political donations to people that have been elected. And it sort of reeks of pay-to-play. So how does that work? Are we not holding them to the same standards as everyone else?
Professionals exempt from that?
So there's yes, they did change the campaign financing law 2 years ago, and they raised the threshold where you could appoint professionals like professional attorneys, professional engineers, professional planners, up to a threshold. I think it's $5,500 through the. No, wait, listen, because correct, because there's two different. There's two different sides of it. So this is the non-fair and open process. So the non-fair and open process, there is a finite number that you can only contribute up to, and then you can be appointed for a professional position. The other side is the non-fair and open. And the the fair and open process. The fair and open process, go donate how you feel fit. Your townships will apply for a request for proposals. These requests for proposals will be submitted, and then those professionals can be appointed. So you can donate $0, you can donate $10,000, and you can donate the money to. There are also campaign financing laws where you can only donate X amount of dollars per PAC, and there's ways that are around it. I don't do campaign financing. I don't want to touch campaign financing, but there are ways where you have ability to put X amount of dollars in each PAC or each super fund or each individual donor's committee or fund, and that's how you can make those donations. And as long as you comply with that, because every year we have to submit how much we donate to the state to be reviewed, and if we violate that, then we can get fined.
Yeah, well, you're the one that said unfair, not me. Okay.
I know, there's two different kinds, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What do we have?
For professional appoint,
Say fair and open versus not fair and open.
so you're,
Is this an option that towns have, or like?
it is, oh, it is.
Okay,
So you guys,
what do we have?
you guys did,
What does Medford have in terms of our requirements?
do you want me to answer? Okay. So you guys did both this year. So you did the fair and open process for all your year-long professional positions. So that was the standard. Everybody and their mother can apply. But last week, there was a resolution that was adopted for the Comegno Law Group for Special Counsel for Labor. That was the non-fair and open process because we needed conflict counsel. So you've done both, But your professional appointments that were adopted on during reorganization, they were done through the fair and open process.
So we don't have like a requirement to do fair and open, we just make the decision as we
We choose to.
Correct.
We're going to do one more question here, and then, or two, and then we'll close this budget portion, and we'll move to public comment.
Thank you. All right. The gentleman with the black hat, I'll say, all right, he mentioned like the late 2000s when there was some companies that overbilled us. That's a real throwback. I remember that. And then we were asking like, how do we make changes? But it's my understanding one of those companies is still working for the township that clearly overbilled us. It was all over the newspapers. I've spoken to you about it, Mike. Why haven't we handled that situation? Whether they decided to hire them back or not, we're at a different time now, and it just seems like even that contract keeps getting renewed. Why can't we fix it, man? They never even paid us back on top of everything else, and they're still grinding my teeth every quarter when I pay my taxes over stuff like this. A lot of people don't know what's going on in our community. But, so, it sounds like we changed the process of like, hey, make sure you don't make donations, but your name is one of the people that overbill. By the way, using the word overbill is being nice, all right? There was a lot more going on back then. But how do they get hired back? Besides an executive session, because that's, I think, what happened in 2013.
I'm not sure who the party is.
Mike, you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully
Right.
we can fix
Yeah.
that. It'll make me sleep better in this.
We have annual contracts with our professionals. I don't
Yes.
understand.
Correct.
Every year during reorg, I'm assuming, or
Yes.
shortly thereafter,
Mhm.
the council, the current council that sits here voted on those professional appointments.
Yes.
But I can steal from the taxpayers and then come back and get rehired? Like, how does that work?
Is that true?
It's true.
Is it true what he's saying?
Mike, it's true. You know it's
Five
true.
of us voted for the professionals that put in this year.
That contract got renewed from last year, though. Okay?
It's an annual appointment.
So in the event, timeout. So if you ever get billed a fee that you dispute, there is an appeal process. If it's a professional fee in connection with a development application, you can appeal it to the Construction Board of Appeals. If it's an attorney fee, you can appeal that to the Construction Board of Appeals. So in terms of charging a professional that is you think is stealing from
I
you,
mean, Bronx County Times, a Republican paper, called the Republican group out here in the community front page in 2010, 2011.
then somebody but there's no you can make a lot of accusations, and the greatest thing about the news is the news can publish what they want. There's a thing called freedom of speech. You may be wrong, but you have that right.
Bills and discrepancy, because, I mean, what this guy brought up over here really happened. It was a law firm, it was a repair shop, it was a contract.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
But why can't we move away from somebody like that? Why are we still married to them?
That would be the council's choice.
They're not even a nice person.
It's
So I don't believe that this necessarily reflects the calendar year 26 budget presentation. But thank you, Mike, and we'll have more time to discuss this during public comment.
Yeah, let's fix this, Mike, once and for all.
I think we're making strides every day.
I do.
So I have a budget presentation question.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Lindsay, phenomenal job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
For bearing with us. So the municipal budget's 18 million, roughly
27.
27 million, so you're allowed to raise it 2%,
Correct.
that's 540,000.
Yes, let me pull up the levy cap.
What is the amount we're raising our taxes by?
For the average homeowner, $105.20.
And that was the total dollar.
Okay, let's see. I don't think you're gonna have that.
Around 900,000.
Yeah.
It's 3 cents.
3.2 cents.
331, so it's not 99.
So the local purpose surface tax last year was 16.3 million, and it's going to 17.4, so right around 900,000.
By some of the surplus.
Correct. Good math, Ray.
So it really comes down to, right, you can't change salaries, contractual, you can't keep cutting employees. So hopefully council just has to think outside the box.
Right.
Come up with ideas. I'm not selling no cemetery. But if the cemetery generated 900,000 a year that came to the township's bottom line, you would not be in this situation today. Okay? Many years ago, I presented a plan to the township about purchasing a solar farm. That was 85 acres that generated many, many, many dollars every year. And then the township could have had that property to be used for redevelopment. Okay? Township council didn't want to hear that one behind closed doors. So there's the Carnes boys, no problem. I love Brian and Dave better. Okay? No problem. I understand why you came out. It was a personal issue between the two of us. But you guys did the wrong thing with the cemetery that is.
I've never been anybody rich from a cemetery, no offense.
No problem. It took me a little while to figure out the practical code of how it works.
Take care of it for
So let me talk, Brian. You spoke enough, haven't you? Okay? Now the cemetery has grown to 50 acres. 1,700 crypts, full-blown crematory. It was a 10-acre cemetery, wasn't even finished. The township made a bad mistake, but I'm okay. All right? But those are the things outside the box that the township, forefathers, council, we put a committee together, and these smart people in this room, don't include me, you can come up with some great ideas to generate revenue in your tax year, because that's the only way you could apply it to this tax year.
Correct.
And that's the only reason why the cemetery was a good situation back then. Not for sale, not interested in it. I'm just telling you, there are other ideas that you could come up with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the comment. And Lindsay, just a final comment that I know you find some value in. So Evesham has, so we have a water utility, right? That would have been something called a cemetery utility. Can you speak to the Evesham golf utility?
Correct. So Evesham has a golf course and the golf range, so it's a golf utility. And they do, based on their financials, do very well. And they bring over $1 million into their regular budget from their golf utility. So I'm bringing in a measly $65,000 from our utility into the regular budget just because I'm not comfortable with touching too much of the surplus in utility. The golf utility at Evesham is doing phenomenally well, so they bring in over $1 million in their 26 budget just from their golf utility for user fees at the range, the golf course.
So that, as Mr. Stahl had mentioned, there's many opportunities for the municipality to venture into other revenue-generating sources, aside from taxing its people.
Right.
And increasing our rateables, which, unfortunately, I think we've heard enough between last time and this time that general increase in tax is going to hopefully keep up to some extent, but we have to find these other mechanisms to increase the overall income to the town, because just the general levy is not going to hold up over time. So, other utilities that could be an option, hotels were mentioned, obviously more rateables are considered. These are all the things that we all need to come together now and discuss, so we get away from that cliff, not run towards it over the next few years. So, Lindsay, we all the residents here want to thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
As Lindsay mentioned, not only this presentation through the live stream, but the first time you
On
presented
the
this
14th, yep.
will be available.
It already is, yep.
It is available.
As well as the physical presentation slides and the state budget sheets that get submitted to the state.
And what are I should know this, but what are the other opportunities for us to engage with the budget?
So I would say next council meeting, we can certainly answer more questions. And then I would say the public hearing and the vote to adopt is on May 19th.
So we are looking for the public's engagement today, which was great. We're looking for more of that over the next few meetings here.
Certainly.
But the process now falls to a first and second. Go ahead.
And we'll include the question again on Facebook, if anyone has questions, to send them in, because not everyone can make it on the nights we're having it. So, I'll go back. Since everyone can't make the meetings, we are going to put it out on Facebook. I'll ask Jason again and the other sites that I know of to put the question in the link. It's also on the Township website. So if anybody can't make it, click on that, put in your questions, and we will answer.
Certainly.
All right, well,
Sorry.
We didn't have it, now we're trying to make it.
there you go.
Want to put the seat back right?
Oh, and the CD too? Oh, good.
All right. I'm so sorry. We're just going to do a little bit of a reset here to get ready for public comment, if there wasn't enough already. So while that's taking place, I just want to, again, thank the folks that were here for engaging with us during this budget process. I hope I wasn't too rude for last year's budget presentation, but there was a lot of information given, and I think there was one person that spoke to last year's budget. The amount of engagement has been very encouraging for us. So now, the section that we're going to enter into is the standard public comment section. This will be limited to 5 minutes. It'll function. You can ask any questions you have. I'll ask Chief Dovey to keep the time, 1 minute warning. If you would like to speak, there's not that many people here, but feel free to either come up, or if I call you out of order, I apologize, but I do see Lewis's hand first. I'm sorry, Jason. You can go right ahead.
Louis Lopez, my highest resident in Burlington, the state of New Jersey. The first question is, what is the status of R&W, the property? That's all I want to know. What's the status there?
Well, would you like to ask all your questions, and then I'll go back and answer them? Okay.
And the meeting before the last one, month before the last one, I just hear the manager, being disbarred, from his position. It's because of the wrong decision he made.
I apologize.
Was it a wrong decision he made?
The reasons for his suspension were listed in the resolution.
He's permanent, right?
He's requested what's called a public hearing. So there's a resolution later on in tonight's agenda that is setting the public hearing and the hearing rules for April 28th. So Mr. Hornicle is still the township's manager as of right this moment. He is suspended pending that hearing to either confirm his removal or reinstate him. But what he did wrong were all memorialized by way of the resolution 76-2026. So it is, I don't have it in front of me, or I would read it to you and show it to you, but I don't have it. But it is all written on the document.
I think can't wait for July 2nd for the fireworks. Can't wait to go there. And then I want to also thank Ray for letting me know of the meeting tonight. I want to thank the mayor. Thank for the calendar, but I had 2 questions about the calendar. First question is, how much it would cost to make that calendar? Can you answer that question?
Yeah, so that calendar is produced by the Medford Sunshine Rotary. It's an endeavor that they take on as a non-profit, their own private nonprofit. it's a large expense to produce that, and just in conversations with them, it's actually it's a non-revenue generating activity. They don't make money off of that, which is unfortunate. But so I believe it's like in the $30,000 or $40,000 range to produce that. That's all done by volunteers in that organization.
I said, well, our town, you can do that, man. It was canceled. 2026, Mount Holly canceled. Everyone was disappointed. And I said, all is because of politics. I mean, I really appreciate it for giving me that. I really do for the calendar. And there's two versions of the other council meeting. You have yours, and I have my, high quality. It'll be uploaded as soon as I get to my house. And, people can have, view the two versions of it. I do not edit mine. I just add a content, upload it, and let everyone know what's going on in Bounty County. And you can see it. Just search two words. Luis Lopez Mount Holly. It will come up the very first one. I do record every meeting in Bounty County. Sometimes Voorhees. And sometimes, one time, with Candy County meeting, I went there once. And wasn't totally, amazed. Thanking me, having as a guest.
Thank you, Louis. So I think the one that we need to just address is Flying W. So that's currently in.
So they have shared, being D.R. Horton, have shared their proposed redevelopment agreements. I received a copy of them today. We are reviewing the Flying W as well as the other three properties, where you should hopefully have comments back quickly.
Yeah. There was environmentals that restricted the density or the buildable land for Flying W, so they're renegotiating some of the terms of those plans, correct?
They are doing environmental studies. This is just their general redevelopment plan, so that if it's approved, a redevelopment agreement, so that if it's approved, they can be designated the redeveloper.
Those are the fourth round sites. I think
Correct.
Lewis is referring to the Flying W, which is a third round site.
That wasn't in the agreement, though, the email that came out today.
Yeah.
But I think when I looked at it, it was just boilerplate language. I didn't see any other terms in there for offerings or anything like that. Just basically, each of the agreements was just boilerplate language. Yeah.
Thank you. Jason?
Hey guys, you don't need to take the time, I'm gonna be less than 5 minutes. I'm tired. Anyway, I guess before I go, you guys went into executive session before.
We know your name, but just for the record.
Jason Kleinman.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, it's me again.
Yep.
Are there any changes to any of the consent resolution stuff before I don't know what you guys discussed, obviously.
Council is aware that I'll be making a motion to address one of the items on the consent agenda.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going then. I'm here tonight to respectfully but firmly request that you remove the consent agenda item appointing Brandon Umba as Township Manager and table it for a future meeting. Many residents came here tonight because they saw notice for a budget workshop. It was advertised as the sole purpose of this meeting. Yet, buried in the agenda is a consent item that would appoint a Township Manager, one of the most consequential decisions this council can make on behalf of the community. It's not a minor procedural matter. It's not something that belongs in the consent agenda. And it's certainly not something that should be slipped past residents who had no reason to expect it would be here tonight. Now let me explain why the appointment raises serious concerns that demands answers before a vote's taken. First, transparency. This council owes the public a clear record of the selection process. Who else was interviewed? What were the criteria used to evaluate the candidates? And why was Mr. Umba selected over the others? We have none of that. None. In a healthy democratic process, the community deserves to understand how a decision of this magnitude was reached and not simply be presented with a foregone conclusion. Second, this is not a new candidacy. He interviewed for this very position previously and was not selected. That decision was made for reasons that the council has not publicly disclosed. What changed? What new information, new evaluation, or new process led to a different outcome this time? All of us as a public have the right to know. Third, and I want to be real measured and direct here, he has a history that warrants scrutiny. He's previously been separated from positions in adjacent municipalities under circumstances that involve settlements. And I'm not here to try the man in a public forum, I'm not. And I recognize that none of that equals any wrongdoing whatsoever. But they do equal unanswered questions. And unanswered questions about a township manager candidate are exactly the kind of thing that should be resolved before an appointment and not after. This council has a responsibility, not just to govern, but to govern transparently and accountably. And rushing this through in a consent agenda at a meeting advertised only for a budget workshop with no public record of the selection process available, it doesn't meet that standard. I'm asking you to do the right thing and table this appointment. Schedule a dedicated public meeting. Release the interview records, release the selection criteria, and give residents the opportunity to ask questions and receive real answers, just like we did with Lindsay with the budget stuff tonight. If this appointment can withstand all of that scrutiny, it's going to be stronger for it, and the community's trust in this council will be stronger for it also. And if it can't withstand that scrutiny, then the council will have done its job by pausing to figure it all out. The residents of this township are not asking you to abandon the decision. We're asking you to earn it. Please table this for tonight. Thank you.
So I just want to clarify a couple things. One, because I want to be careful, because categorically, if the township was to act on that resolution, he would not be appointed as the township manager.
Because Hornicle's still,
But even if Hornicle was not, even if he was already removed from office,
okay,
because the hearing had already occurred, it is not a shared service agreement for a township manager. It is a shared service agreement for a township administrator so that he can assist the township in the administrative tasks that it needs help with. That is what the appointment,
so
that's
it's an
what the.
assistant manager?
No, it's not an assistant manager. Let's talk about the Faulkner Act and what Medford is. So Medford is a township manager form of government.
Correct.
So your manager is your head administrative officer and your head executive officer
the
for the
CEO.
township. Correct.
Yeah.
So he runs it all.
Okay.
So Daniel is still the CEO.
Okay.
But the administrator is not, it would essentially be the vice president. So he's the guy that's there, and he's the one who's gonna run everything and ensure that everything runs smoothly. The township may be.
Basically next one up when Hornicle, whoever knows what's gonna happen with the hearing, but if he's gone,
Then the acting manager is still Mr. Dovey
Okay.
until a manager is appointed by the town. Now, that is it. There, in the event that the township was inclined to hire a new township manager, they could go through that process. They could go through the receive qualifications. They could go through the interviewing process. But that's not what's being considered tonight. The shared service agreement with the township of Southampton is to consider the utilization of that township's administrator as the simultaneous administrator of the township of Medford to assist Medford in the day-to-day tasks.
and that's
So-
a role that we don't currently have anyone filling.
No. Mr. Dovey has received a crash course into it within the
You're
last.
doing a damn good job. Just-
He was just as surprised as everyone else here when we appointed him.
Okay.
If you guys could have seen his
yeah.
face back there.
I was
it was
here,
pretty
I saw it.
priceless.
Yeah, and I'll let you finish up, but I do have a comment.
So that's it. I'm going to use the word eviscerate the misconception that this resolution and this shared service agreement is for the appointment of a township manager, because unequivocally that is not what the township is doing in the event they acted in favor.
I mean, the timing is a little sus, let's be honest, but.
It's budget season too. There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
moving parts that need assistance with.
Okay.
Yeah, and as Chief can definitely attest to, there's a lot of moving parts, and we need someone that understands how to support the administrative staff. Lindsay's department will get support, Public Works will, all the administrative functions of this town. We're looking to utilize Southampton's resources to fortify ours. That's what our current role is right now. We've unfortunately had a suspension, and Chief has stepped up, but it's unfair for Chief to go at this without the support of a shared service.
You don't want a third job. Okay, now,
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, all the things on the consent agenda, they're not generally on like the E-code site with everything else until after you vote, right? So
Yeah,
it's kind
that's
of like,
common practice, right, Pat? They're left off of E-code until they're voted on and approved.
Typically, the answer is yes, as long as the agenda is what's required to be posted.
well, it just, I don't know, it just seems a little opaque that like something's gonna be voted on and it's more formality than anything and like nobody can see what's actually in it until after you bless it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, just more of a comment than anything.
Yeah.
But-
I can assure you that it's not a formality.
Okay.
You know, we've had robust conversations
I'm
about this.
sure you have.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah,
all right, that's it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tom Rendy, 272 Church Road in Medford. I'm also wanted to speak concerning the resolution that you have on the agenda tonight, 91, 2026, with doing a joint thing with Southampton. I'm not in favor of that one bit. And the reason why is I think the job is too involved for one person to do two municipalities. We have a person right here that's doing the job right now, and I realize that I know he doesn't want to do it long term, but he's doing a fine job doing it right now. Are you in the process right now advertising for the position?
Of township manager?
Yes.
No.
Is it because the other guy isn't legally fired yet?
Under this is where we get the fine line of, under the statute, Mr. Hornicle is still the manager for the township pending his public hearing on April 28th, which is also one of the items on tonight's agenda. So in the event after that public hearing, the board finds that not the board, I apologize, the Township Council finds that it wants to vacate Resolution 76-2026, which suspended him, that would reinstate him to the position. Alternatively, the finding would be to affirm the findings contained in Resolution 76-2026 and remove him permanently. So as of this moment, the township already has a township manager. The township cannot go out and advertise for the position of township manager because there's already one in existence.
Then you don't know, you do not have a time frame exactly as to when you're going to be needing a full-time manager.
Correct, because as of this moment, Mr. Hornicle is still the
So
full-time
you're
manager.
going to need a full-time interim, and even though this gentleman here, Chief Robert, is doing a fabulous job, I know he wants to get back to his regular job. There
Or his
are
house.
an abundant amount of people that can probably serve as a full-time interim without doing a shared services, which would be not beneficial to Medford Township. There's plenty of people out there that would apply for it if you advertise for an interim position and you could get a qualified person. And there's a large amount of people that are available for that. And I think we would be much better off as a township with a full-time interim because you do not have a specific time when you're going to need a full-time person. And they would benefit the township much more than a shared service. Thank you.
Paula?
And now for the short person. And I'm going to change the entire vibe. So my name is Apollonia Gailey. I live at 3 Cedar Street, and I currently serve as the chair of the Environmental Committee. And I want to talk about saving money, because this is what we do in the Environmental Committee and the Green Team. So since we started the Trex recycling program, as I talked in February, I think, We're now up over 12,000 pounds that we have kept and saved those tipping fees from the landfill. We started this week with the partnership between the Environmental Committee, the Green Team, Public Works, and Garden State Composting. We were actually launching our community composting program. And even though there is a small fee that was negotiated with Garden State Composting, I feel it's a small fee. If we're able to keep that food waste out of our trash, again, that's going to be a savings in our tipping fees. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at. We found a donor to buy the trees for the children for the Arbor Day celebration. Again, we like to save money, grow green things. Coming up on May 17th in the community rooms at the Township building, we have a repair cafe. There are over 15 repair coaches, including bike, computer, guitar, sewing. There's all different types of repairs free of charge. Anybody wants to come in, don't throw that appliance out. Missing a button? Bring it in. Bring in your jacket. Bring in your coat. Bring in that old guitar that needs to be restrung and tuned. And for no charge, they're going to have people there who will fix it. So I think that that's really important. The one thing that I think that's a little different this year for us, we usually have our Earth Day, our Arbor Day celebration at Freedom Park. The last 3 or 4 years, we've had snow, we've had rain, we've been shivering, we've been wet. We did not have a 90 degree like we did last week, a 90 degree day. So I requested that we move our event to June. And this year, we partner with the Women's Club of Medford, along with some others. We have a community yard sale that day. We're going to make it a little bigger than it was. We'll have some food truck and some vendors. And it's going to be June 6th at Freedom Park. So there are all those things, and I just continually would like to, the second Tuesday of the month, regularly, our environmental committee meets at the Township building. It's open to the public. Thank our liaison, Deputy Mayor Voorhees, and I just, the partnership continues, and I think that that's an important thing as we look at not what is not available to us, but what can we do? We want to continue to be sustainable. We want to continue to be able to not waste the things that we have and move forward in a positive way. So thanks.
Thank you.
Paula, what time on June 6th? What time?
We're making it a little longer this year.
Okay.
It's going to be from 8 until 2.
Perfect.
Yes, so it's going to be, and I'll have lots of flyers. I'll be nagging everybody, so thank you.
Perfect.
And Paula, I'm sorry, one more, just can I ask you? So your Arbor Day festivities with the schools.
So this Friday from 10 until usually 11:30ish will be at Twitten Forge Elementary School. It is open to the public. The children every year put together a program, so even I will be surprised. I kind of shanghaied Mike last year. He just came to visit, and I made him speak.
Yep.
It was good to be in charge.
Yes.
A little bit. So, but it is really nice because the kids, they'll do art, music, poetry, and they talk about what it is. Medford Lees donates a tree that we will plant on the school grounds. And this year we were all laughing out in the parking lot tonight, You worry about deals in the parking lot? Well, we had a tree deal going on. And this year we have more mature saplings for the kids to plant. We have red oak and we have white oak. So each of the third graders at Taunton Forge Elementary School, which I'm really happy because that's my grandchildren's school, will get a tree to take home to plant at their homes. So I'll see you Friday. You coming, Mike?
I'll be there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, sir?
Kevin Sparkman, 128 Bracken Road. So I'll second Paula's comments. I've been doing backyard composting of food, waste for more than 2 decades, and conservatively, I estimate we've composted probably, close to 5 tons of food waste just in one household. So I'm a big believer composting can save the world. So, and I don't use a service to pick it up. I just compost it in buckets and spread it in the yard when it's done. So, kudos. So on the shared services agreement, I'm listening to the questions and answers. I don't get a sense of like how long, and I understand, like we still have a manager. What are we talking about in terms of length of time for this? I don't know if it's reflected in the resolution or not. Is this a 6-month thing, a 1 year? What are we talking about?
Sorry. It would be a 1 year. It's a year shared service agreement, but it could be terminated upon 30 days notice.
Okay. It sounds like that, assuming that Mr. Hornickel moves on to something else, that after this process runs its course, it sounds like you are planning on hiring another manager. Is that accurate?
We can't say, because one, it involves personnel, and Mr. Hornickel is the current manager for the township.
Okay, but you've already contemplated the council not renewing his agreement or whatever the language.
No, because it includes, Mr. Hornickel is entitled to a public hearing on April 28th to determine whether or not he is to be removed or the resolution be vacated and reinstated.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. That's vague enough. I'll leave without an answer to that question. I'm concerned about Mr. Umba because he is a political operative. I'm a strong believer that township manager should not be heavily involved in politics. I know that's a hard thing to sort of regulate, but it seems like a lot of our managers that we've had over the years haven't been, certainly not, a political operative like Mr. Umba. And I think you need to, take that into consideration as you're, making, these decisions. I think it places a lot of pressure on him. It places pressure on council members when you, have these questions where there are politics, involved, and there are certain, relationships that Mr. Umbo may, want to maintain politically that factor into some of his decisions, potentially within this township. So I just want to, I want to share my thoughts on that. I'm not alone in that thinking. So I feel strongly that, I hope this process moves forward. Back to my earlier comments, I don't know what it is about, getting the right kind of people in here to run this township, properly. I don't know Mr. Umba's work experience. I know he's bounced around in different, townships. But I think we need to really look for the highest caliber, people, administrators, township managers that we can, potentially find. So, thanks.
Thank you. It was Zach next, and then we'll get
Zach Wilson, 51 North Main Street. I also would like to just kind of point out and chastise you guys a little bit about putting this in the consent agenda resolution. You may view it as a minor change to bring in an administrator to help out with tasks. However, there are quite a few tasks that an administrator traditionally fills that it would be under the purview of a township manager. And I think that it's a big enough decision where this should have been advertised ahead of time. This is something I would have expected from the previous council, not from you guys. I'm chastising you for that openly. I think you should have made a better play than that. That said, I would really like to understand the speed with which this has been put forward, along with the decision that it should be Southampton and Brandon Umba as the recipient of the shared services agreement. This town very recently rejected leadership from Brandon Umba at the state legislature level. In fact, he was the 4th vote getter. So we said, of all 4 people running here, we do not want Brandon Umba leading us. And you're about to enter into a shared services agreement that gives him considerable control over Medford. And we said we don't want that. So I think that this is, in a way, going against a very recent referendum on whether you should move in this direction. So I'd like to understand the reasons that we're moving in this direction, why we settled on Southampton and Brandon Umba, why are we not moving in the direction of a temporary appointment of a temporary professional like we did when we were searching for a new town manager. I am sure that there are temporary town administrators that you can get. I'd like to know why we're not going that route instead, why we were settling on the shared services with Southampton. I'd also, without sounding conspiratorial, but understanding that I can't, I would love to get assurances from all of the council, but especially our Republican members, that this agreement, this situation did not come about in unofficial conversations during Republican club meetings. I think that that is a danger of looking to have somebody like Brandon Umba fill these positions, is that those are going to be natural questions that the town comes up with, and I don't know that you could possibly give enough assurances that it's not the reason. So I'd love the assurance of an open, on-the-record statement from every member that this decision was made amongst the five of you in official capacity and not in backroom dealings outside of council.
I would have to tell you that it couldn't be all five of us together because we're not allowed to talk. So
Understand.
just want to clarify. So it was often, I call it the telephone game. I'm sure it's got an official pretty title.
To avoid the sunshine game. I know.
Yes.
Yes.
So for me, it was always one-on-one conversations, and I have no problem putting on the record, I forgot your words, but on the record, no, I don't go to Republican club meetings. I think I've been to two, one to introduce myself and one for something else.
I mean,
but
they nominated you as their candidate, so they have to know who
that's
you
the one
are.
I was at.
So.
I think it was to introduce myself, and one, like, maybe when I got elected. It's just a night of the week that I can't make for work. Which, to your point, I could not have discussed at a Republican club meeting, discussed it individually with different folks.
And you're confirming that you didn't discuss it outside of Republican club meetings with non-council members?
No.
Okay.
I definitely did not.
Okay. Mike?
Sorry, that one threw
Same.
me.
I think the very first Republican club meeting I ever went to was when I had been nominated to be their candidate. I've obviously been to more since then, but none in which that I spoke about managers or business administrator appointments.
I agree,
Yeah.
same. And we haven't even had any in public,
Yeah.
in the new year, I don't think.
Good point.
Yeah.
There hasn't
And
even
again,
been any, Zach, so-
I understand
Yeah.
that these conversations don't have to always happen inside the club setting, and so I would ask that in relation to the Republican club itself, outside of your role as official council members around making this move, because I got to tell you, it smacks, whether or not it is backroom dealings, it smacks of backroom dealings.
didn't vote yet.
I understand you didn't vote, but the fact that this has come up in this way,
I think I'll definitely say this on the record. There was many options discussed. Southampton came to us as an option.
who in Southampton?
The mayor spoke to me when we proceeded with give me the right words for Daniel.
With the adoption of the preliminary resolution of removal.
So it was an action all five of us chose to take. Shortly thereafter, the mayor of Southampton contacted me and said we would be interested in entertaining a shared service with you for administrative support.
Correct.
And that was one of the options put on the table. There were other townships that asked to remain nameless, but they were much more expensive, and I think cost is a big factor for us. You mentioned, like a third-party vendor. Those services have a high cost threshold to them as well. And, I mean, I'll speak very highly of JPM. I think they did a great job for us, but there's no assurances there that the candidates that they're bringing us are going to fit our needs. We're not hiring a manager at all at this point, right? We're supporting Chief Dobie and the administrative staff.
I'm sorry,
And
what
let's
is Chief
include
Dobie's, is it an
Acting
official title?
manager,
Acting
right.
manager.
Right,
So we
yeah.
could get, in a sense, a single person on a temp basis to be the acting manager and the administrator at the same time, rather than with one person, rather than having to pay. I assume we're paying you, you're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
Chief or Lindsay? No? Suzanne, just so you know.
Is that an incorrect assumption? Because, man, I'll give you a hug, but.
No, I
Yeah.
am
Give him the hug.
filling in as the acting township manager. There was no additional compensation
additional
or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
You're a better man than I.
Amen.
He gets the hug.
Yeah. So, we understood that there was a need to make a decision through a resolution that I can't explain properly. And Chief was in the back, probably just as surprised as everybody else about what needed to happen there. And immediately thereafter, within a matter of days, we were discussing what are the next options we have. Towns were reaching out to us. There was many versions that we could move forward. This is one that clearly it's on the consent agenda, at least has enough merit to be voted on today.
I think for me, one of the keys too is that when you let a manager go in New Jersey, I'm trying to pick all my words very carefully, you have to give them a 3-month severance package. With a shared service, if after 30 days we don't like you, no more 3 months.
Understood, but an administrator is not a permanent solution.
No, and this is not
Right.
meant to be
Okay.
permanent.
All right.
Sorry, this is.
Listen, I get the shared services. I appreciate the answers to the question. I'm not sure that there's enough, whether you're convincing me or not, I don't think that there's enough reassurances you can give the public that this wasn't some type of shady deal. Also, however, I will point back to the fact that this particular candidate was rejected previously for a role similar to this, and in fact, to do some of this job. And you have very clear information from the voters that we don't want this person's leadership. And you're choosing to go that route. So I'm just pointing out the fact that this is a very clear step that goes against the voters' wishes. So that's all. Thank you.
Mary?
Good evening, everyone. Mary Lucas, 207 Taunton Boulevard, Medford. Initially, I was going to start out with, I am starting out with thanking Councilwoman Voorhees and Councilwoman Santamore, for coming out and spending time on Taunton Boulevard, getting a sense of what we're up against every day. And we also found out there's an additional monitoring device that's been put up, of which we don't have the results yet. But we have a feeling that it may not work in our favor, because with more cars at the higher rate, it's not going to give us that differential that we really need to lower the speed limit. But we're still asking for that. And we're still adamant that we have to have that. And we're still adamant about the weight restrictions, because it's just, you could see just by what you observed the other day how difficult it is. It's just beyond the beyond now, and it's increased greatly, especially with the trucks. So I'm here again on that particular issue, and that we did reach out to Representative Angelozzi the other day and met with him, and he's interested in at least supporting a letter to the county on our behalf that it's at the county level right now, and we're really not getting the support that we need with this issue. It's so really adamant about that. And once we get the next monitoring report, we'll bring the results to council. I'm also, just in light of the recent discussions, I had the same question myself, that I thought that resolution was premature, that it was something that we were kind of blindsided, the people not understanding it, number one, and number two, that if we were to do shared services, I've been in Medford 37 years now, and years ago they tried to do shared services with Medford Township on real services such as trash and things like that, where people would actually have come out ahead in their taxes. But Medford Lakes decided to just stay independent. But when I think of shared services, I think of shared services in light of those kinds of services, not administrative services. And especially in light of the fact of the budget presentation, that we need our own person. We don't need a shared person. We need our own person, even if it is interim. and that it would be beneficial to Medford just to have our own person, especially in light of what we feel is necessary for the township going forward, given our financial outlook. I mean, if it was our own household, I think we'd all be very worried that, it's going to affect everyone differently, but it's going to affect everyone, and having our own person is really is the best thing. And I think that I would recommend that this be tabled until there's more discussion, until there's more input from the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary, hold on one second.
I'm sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
all right. Something to think, for me, the important factor was, if I'm going to hire a tax accountant for my own personal taxes, I can randomly interview people and hope that they're okay, or I can look into what they've done in the past, and if it looks like they're able, or maybe for my business, I want the CPA who's going to be able to say, Michelle, you need to do this, 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 and this, because it's going to save you money. And not only is he going to talk about it, he's going to show me, because look, I've done it for this business and this business and this business. So if I can find somebody who is cheaper than the previous guy and has proven that he can save the money and make the money, then for me, that's the guy I'm going to hire. So if you could take that same analogy, that's what I was looking for in an administrator, someone who's proven they've made money.
I wouldn't disagree with
Since
that
it's
premise.
not, it's a short term, it's not we're not keeping him for years and years and years unless he suddenly turns into amazing, and that'd be great, and maybe everyone loves him, we keep him for years and years, but right now, we need someone to help turn things around financially who's done it in other towns.
I don't disagree with your premise. I disagree with the person. I don't know the person. I'm just saying that the person I believe that we need has to be of Medford, for Medford. This shared person is not, shared person, I don't believe cuts it for what we need in Medford right now. Just given the presentation tonight, I'm just, it's striking.
And long-term,
It's very striking, and I think that we have a genuine need, but we need our own person. Thank you.
Thank you. And
I
what?
have a quick question. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
With all these dire circumstances with the budget, do we have a citizens advisory committee like they have in Princeton and Westfield? So many people have good ideas.
Yeah.
Could they take it and run with it? They're not going to run the town, but they're going to come up with some creative ideas that I'm not going to come up with. So I know Westfield and Princeton, there are maybe Montclair. It seems to be working for them, and they have more people, but they have many of the same problems.
I think we have very good people in
Yeah.
Medford. I think we have very good people here.
And you can share it, Mary.
And, no, I think that's a great idea, and we do have very good people here, but I would feel much more comfortable not sharing a person in this position, given the enormity of
I
what we're
agree with
facing
you.
right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with you. Okay.
Mary Ann Holloway. And I'm going to apologize. My health is getting to me today, so if I'm not real clear, I apologize. Mr. Dovey, how many hours a week do you work on township matters under the manager situation?
I'm slated for 40 hours a week, 80 hours in a 2-week pay period. For the manager duties right now, pretty much every single day, a good majority of the day, along with the managing fire, EMS, and emergency management.
I ran a very large company for a very long time. I'm going to speak about this on a managerial level. This town is facing some of the most intense amount of work that's going to be put before this council and this town and the citizens of this town in the next few months. You're talking about a part-time person that is not going to be able, unless you're going to move him into a full-time position. And that's the only reason to do this, to be able to handle the amount of work that's coming. I looked up Mr. Dovey's length with the township.
Take 5 seconds of your time?
Sure.
That gentleman that we're all speaking of has been 100% clear. He is not leaving Southampton. So it is not a move to steal him from Southampton to put him in Medford.
So I'm going to be clearer then. Like I said, I'm having a little health situation going on. Mr. Dovey's got 24 years and 10 months experience with the town right now. So he's interacted with all the moving parts, all the people. He knows who's on first.
Oh, yeah.
He knows everything. You have a situation going on where you're going to come into a situation on April 28th that could go one way or another. We don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure out the timing of all this. The individual that's being done, it feels like deja vu all over again. And it's not just my voice, it's multiple voices, it's things that you're hearing. It's not clear why you're doing this now. This is premature, and to put it in a consent agenda is an insult. So there are many intelligent people here, and they've all said the same thing, yet the feedback is, we know. It's not about saving dollars, it's about saving the town. Right? So, you get what you pay for. This needs to be set aside for a couple of weeks. It needs to be decided. You guys got to find somebody permanent that can take on the job of what's coming ahead. After running multiple $1-million budgets for a long time, you guys are in trouble. And, to have a part-time person, even in the interim, is not wise at all. It's not, and I don't even think it's been advertised. It seems like somebody approached you, you decided to accept it. Oh yeah, great idea, we'll save a few $1,000s. It's not a good idea. I'm not going to get in the politics of the politics, but it's evident. It's not going away. So it needs to come out of this consent agenda. It needs to be postponed for a couple of weeks. I'm not getting into the politics of it. I've said it 1,000 times. I really don't like politics. I'm worried about the town. That's what I'm worried about, seriously. And a lot could happen in a short period of time to turn this town upside down. So my vote's for Mr. Dovey to pay him extra, because I bet you he's working more than 40 hours a week right now. He should be compensated. I mean, it's not usually like me to say, go spend more money, but you already have somebody competent in the position.
And he does it graciously, really.
I know, but what I'm saying.
I appreciate that very much, and he listens. So.
And he's competent, and he knows all the heads, department heads. He knows what's happened here for years. Why are you pivoting? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'll answer your questions. There's a lot of things that are about to happen over the next 2 to 4 months, right?
Yeah,
a lot.
It's an understatement.
Right. So, and Chief Dovey's doing an amazing job. I think we can all agree that he's doing a phenomenal job. We're trying to provide him immediate support through this shared service. That's our goal. And we all agree, Chief Dovey's doing a great job. The additional support that we look to provide to him through a shared service, I think, is only going to help him do his job. He will still maintain the acting manager role. We are not filling a permanent manager position yet. We haven't even discussed that. We're timing of that. So I'm actually agreeing with you, Marianne. We have a lot of things that need to be handled over the next 2 to 4 months, and we need additional support.
And you're going to put a part-time person in that position?
No, we're not. Chief Dovey is staying on as acting manager, and we're bringing in additional support for him and his staff.
There are something called administrative assistants, right? The manager, if you're going to spend that money, get Mr. Dovey an assistant. Get him a managerial assistant. You don't need to have an administrator. It's a duplication of services. Get somebody that's going to be helping him at his... This doesn't make any sense. I hate to use the term. Everybody is saying it. It's a political appointment. So I'm going to stop talking because it's repetitive and people have said it. People have told you how they felt. Yeah. It's obvious. I'm asking that this comes out of this. It should not. It should be its own line item. This should not be in a consent agenda. It just shouldn't. It's too important to be just voted on tonight. It should be tabled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Earl Stoll, 26 Fostertown Road. Had the fortunate opportunity to not be in the area for a month or so I apologize for missing a few meetings. But it's interesting that Mr. Varga and I crossed paths about a year and a half ago, I think it was, about a year ago. And it wasn't the finest of meetings, but he's very knowledgeable and he did his job. And because of that, I just want to clear the record because there's been some vilification of a national home builder because they have 3 of the projects, maybe 4, I guess, the Flying W. But I just want to go on the record because of what happened with Mr. Varga and I back about 14 months ago when I presented a plan in front of the staff meeting for 14 homes on a cul-de-sac and a cemetery expansion into 80 acres. This gentleman did the right thing and said cemeteries can't be used as a form of open space. So I folded up my papers, all the information that I had there with my professional, and I walked out of that staff meeting, and the first call I made at that time was to the then township manager, and I asked that township manager if my property could be considered as a property in need of redevelopment because I want to make my property part of the 171 obligation that this township had. So you didn't do anything wrong. I credit you for doing the right thing, but that's how the Camp EFS stall property came to fruition, where that's going to meet some of the affordable housing because I couldn't expand the cemetery and do a 14-home subdivision with actually Mr. Procacci. Fast forward a little bit or rewind a little bit. I've been in the township now for 39 years. Came here in 1987. Okay, I've met Mr. Trollinger. I've known Mr. Trollinger for 40 years, 39 years. Mr. Trollinger was going a different route with his property. Mr. Trollinger was going to do public storage. I said, Bob, I said, your father and your mother have passed, been a friend of the Trollingers for many, many years. I asked Bob to bring his property into meeting the obligation of the township. It was me. It wasn't D.R. Horton. It was Earl Stoll. Fast forward a little bit further when I understood and figured out through the way I do things and problem solve that the Lafferty property was another property that was having problems between the contract purchaser and the property owner. Guess who was there? Earl Stoll. I know Mr. Molyneux. I know Rick. I know Liz. I've known him for 39 years. He's had a few health problems. I asked his property. Okay, I'm the one responsible for those 3 projects. Not anyone else. It wasn't D.R. Horton. I'm the contract buyer of Rick's Auto Body. I'm the owner of Camp EFS, which is adjacent to the cemetery and adjacent to the corner of Church and Fostertown Road by Mr. Rendy and Mrs. Rendy's property. I'm solely responsible for it. Now to the most important part, okay? I had national home builders come to my doorstep. I didn't meet with certain ones personally, but I met with Lennar, I met with Pulte, I met with D.R. Horton. I chose D.R. Horton because that man believes in this town. Okay, Ray, Bethany, Mike, Michelle,
Catherine.
if any one of you want to talk with me, about the conversations that I've had with the individual who lives in this town, who I put my belief in, please come talk to me personally. It has nothing to do with who's getting paid what. I turned down more money from Pulte, who offered $3 million more for my project, and I went with a less amount of dollars. Thanks, Chief. That's okay. We've known each other for many, many years.
Yeah, we're going to clearly let you go.
Please,
Yep.
I just want everyone to know that inappropriately, D.R. Horton is being vilified when I chose D.R. Horton to do 2 of the 3 projects, and I convinced Mr. Trollinger to choose D.R. Horton. So please, Mr. Carnes, he's not here right now, but D.R. Horton is a good builder. I chose them because that individual lives in this town and he cares about this town. And I hope everything goes all right with all that.
Thank you, Mr. Stahl.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public?
Moving on.
Okay. All right, seeing none, motion to close.
So motion? Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we have the manager's report.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Couple quick things. One, I did want to answer, Mrs. Holloway, Well 6 is the southern end of town. It's in the area of Cowpath Road there and Jackson. So I did get that from Brian, our Director of Public Works. In regards to the missed trash collections over the last few weeks, our Director of Public Works is working with Republic in accordance with our contract with them to get things squared away. So that is on everybody's radar. And again, hopefully we'll be able to utilize that contract to our benefit. And then the only other thing I had was we're seeking approval for 3 volunteer members for our Department of Fire and EMS. They're listed on the agenda.
Great. Chief, thank you again for everything you're doing. And thank you for following up with the resident concerns about trash. I know it's a sensitive topic, obviously for us when our trash doesn't get picked up, but negotiating or working with the vendor to try to get that rectified is something we really appreciate you doing.
No, absolutely. Mr. Kopp from Public Works tracked it, and there were multiple routes that were either 25% or 100% missed. So that is unacceptable.
Thank you. Thank you. So I know we need an all in favor for approval of the 3 volunteers. Aye. Aye?
Aye.
All right. They're approved, Chief. As always, please thank them for their service. All right, and there's no clerk's report this evening. We will now move to the bill list. We have a bill list from April 10th, 2026 and April 17th, 2026. Are there any questions on the bill list? No? Okay, seeing none. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of a roll call? All in favor? Yeah. Aye.
Aye.
All right. It's been a while. All right, no ordinances for introduction. I'll now move to the consent agenda resolutions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table Resolution 91-2026 for the shared service agreement, given the fact that council did not receive the agreement for review until approximately 10:30 this morning. I ask for this motion to be tabled to allow more time for more extensive review.
Second. A resounding second, by the way.
Ms. Santor?
Yes, then you should.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
No.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
No.
Mayor Sizzle?
No.
Motion to table fails.
Okay.
So it is still on the consent agenda. Can be removed or
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion
sorry.
to remove Resolution 91-2026 from the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Ms. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Just for clarification, this is for discussion to remove off the consent agenda. So we
Move
can-
the standard.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. Okay, so Resolution 91 has been removed from consent agenda. That will move down to, forgive me, I believe it's Section 8 resolutions.
Correct.
And that will be read separately.
Correct, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so at this point, I will read the remaining consent agenda resolutions.
Correct.
Okay. Resolution 89, 2026, governing body certification of compliance with the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, enforcement guidance on the consideration of arrest and conviction records and employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Then Resolution 90, 2026, setting hearing date for the removal of the municipal manager pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-93 and establishing rules of procedure. We're going to then go Resolution 92, 2026, self-examination of 2026 budget. Do I have a motion to approve the three consent agenda resolutions?
Motion to approve Resolution 89, 90, and 92-2026.
I'll second that.
Ms. Santifor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. All right, now we will move to Resolution 93, 2026, introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. So we are voting only on approval of this resolution.
Correct, introducing it.
All right, we're introducing the budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay, with this motion, if it's approved, well, it's a 28-day grace period, and introduction would be on May 19th. So at this point, we're just approving the introduction of the budget. Okay? Motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay, we're all happy.
Okay. Ms. Santifor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
With concern, yes.
Yeah, me too.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. Okay, resolution's passed. And now we will move on to Resolution 91, 2026, authorizing a shared service agreement with Southampton for the Township Administrator. We will need a motion.
We do need a motion and
And
a
a
second,
second.
and then a roll call.
I'll make the motion to accept it.
Second.
Okay, call please.
Ms. Santifor?
No.
Mr. Cox?
No.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. All right. That resolution is passed. We don't have executive.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. And now I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.